And we are live. Welcome to the Political Orphans. My name is Nico Lagan, and I am your in-house conservative. To my left, Rob Ambrose, our token liberal. Our goal is simple. We want to show you that it's possible for a lefty and a righty to not only get along, but to be able to have a civil conversation when we don't agree. Because never forget, common sense has no political affiliations. What's going on, Brett?
How's you hanging, brother? How's your day going so far?
Bro, I did not realize it would take so long to do this fucking research. Like I could have asked for another like 10 hours, 12 hours to just,
I know.
hey bro, take the leash off your dog, man. What the fuck? Your dog still have her leash on. What the hell?
Literally just took her out 2 seconds.
She cute though.
Oh yeah, she's a cutie.
What's going on, Wiseman? Wiseman. What's going on, Wise guy? What's
he comes bringing gifts.
Yep, the Wiseman. Where are my gifts?
Yes.
What's up?
Where's the gold and the frankincense? Folks,
what's up, Misfit? What's up, Cheryl? What's up, Nick?
How's it going, guys? How's it going? I agree with you about the research. I figured a couple hours would be enough. But as I'm doing it, I was like, holy fuck, there's so much more. And I was also like, holy shit, these picks are bad. Like,
what a bunch of
really
twats.
Bad. Really, yeah. That's a great way to put it. Just really bad.
Oops.
Some of them seem intentionally designed to either piss people off or piss Alberta off or just
do
100%. The opposite of what they're supposed to be doing.
So you have a female dog, right?
Yeah, that's Harley.
So do I. Like you can see mine just walking behind me. I have a big female German Shepherd.
Yeah,
I had somebody ask me one day, "Do you have female dogs because you like to oppress them?"
Oh, gee. just to get another woman to control.
That's it. I control my wife. I control my dog. This is
everything. I got a female goldfish, and I control how much food she gets.
Yeah, of course.
Guys, how's it all going? Misfit says twat is an understatement. Of course it is. Northern
hey guys, by the way, if as we're going, this is one thing I'd encourage the people on Discord to do. As we're going, if you think that there's videos or articles that we should talk about on the show live, put them in there. Just tell me in the comment that you posted something in there, and I'll go check it out, because I can easily share whatever's on Discord. I can just share my screen. I'm always logged in. So
I mean, one strength about the show is improvisation, right? So we can roll with whatever you got.
Oh yeah, because I'm always looking at what's trending in the news, no matter what. So it never stops. But yeah, we'll start there, guys. If you're new to this, or if you're a veteran, make sure to like, comment. If you're on X, make sure to share. If you're on X, you should join us on the YouTube channel. It's right at the bottom over there, just under Rob.
I'm gonna go put the link there in the X chat.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the same thing on my side. We're gonna put the links to the YouTube channel, because if you're on X, you're missing out on the conversation. Like, we have so many great people that show up every day, and they're just we have some very smart commenters, and you won't see them unless we show them on screen, like what Rob is doing right now. So make sure to join us at the Poli Orphans on YouTube. And if you're on YouTube and you feel like supporting us, there is we do have a membership, $2.99 a month. You can help make this show better, and you will get priority on the comments. We'll do our best to address all of your comments. And also, you get access to our Discord server, which is uncensored place where you can talk with other people that don't know where they fit on the political spectrum. So the conversation we have here for 2.5 hours a day can continue on Discord 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And there's a bunch of things that you can share. Like, I'm a conspiracy theorist, so there's folders for that stuff. There's discussion out there. There's jokes and Misfit, God knows, that he likes to share in there. But it's just so that you want to talk politics, you want to talk culture, you want to just shoot the shit with like-minded individuals because you're fucking tired of talking to your family that doesn't understand you, or if your family's like my wife, she's fucking tired of hearing me talking about this shit. So at least over there you can talk with other people that actually want to talk about it. So just
Yeah, absolutely. If your wife if your wife is like ours, or your wife or girlfriend is like ours, yeah, you might want a place where you can come over to chat, because I mean, it's like both of our partners, like Nico's wife and my girlfriend, have been like, oh, I'm so glad that you have this show now. Now it gives them a break. So if you're in the same boat, then yeah, jump over there. Northern.
I always have to be careful, Northern and Billy. I'll always be sure not to get us canceled on YouTube. But again, you should join the server on Discord, because you're not a member.
Yeah, the Discord is where you
join us there.
Or you can talk about that. It's only $2.99 a month. Paul says,
hold on. Just let me take this one, because this is fucking hilarious. Joe Stradamus is saying that today I realized that this chat is like Cheer, and I am the resident Fraser Crane. I like how you went for the smartest guy.
Yeah.
On Cheers, right? You're not the fat idiot that's always drinking beer.
Norm,
right?
Yeah.
No, of course you are Fraser Crane.
That's so funny. But actually, I agree with that, though.
Sense of humbleness. He's very humble.
It fits though. It's not humble, but it's at least accurate. I would say that. What if we were Cheers guys? Which one would you be for all you guys, for our regulars out there? Which characters would you be?
Definitely be the guy that sleeps around all the time. That used to be me, bro. The guy that's always bringing new women around, and he's kind of a dick.
Woody Harrelson, wasn't it?
No. The main bartender,
Ted Danson. Ted Danson.
Yeah, Ted Danson. I think that would be it. Yeah, I'd be that. The main bartender jackass. That.
Yeah.
I think that would be me. Yeah.
Fuck. What's his name? It's not. Tip my tongue. His name's Ted Danson in real life, but his character is Joe. Let us know. Paul, back to the topic at hand, says, Canadians are fools. I don't know why I'm reading this in like anime. Canadians are fools. Voting Sam. That's right. Voting this disaster back in. Canadian dummies hoodwinked again. Well, hold that thought, because it's probably even worse. Once we get into some of these, we're going to dig into actually some of the actual members. Some of them we know, I don't think anyone needs to be told why Chrystia Freeland is terrible, but some of them you might not have heard about. I tried to be fair, to be honest. I tried to look for a couple that would be like, okay, now this was a decent pick. I didn't find one. I didn't.
There's one. There's actually one.
Okay.
There's one single person that actually makes sense. His name is, hold on. I have the list of all the fucking ministers here. His name is Adam Van Couverden.
Yeah. He's an Olympian. Yeah. He's
a Secretary of State for sports.
Okay.
He's a 2004 Summer Olympics in Athens in kayaking gold medalist.
Okay. So,
but that is it. Out of the 30 people that were chosen for those minister positions, he is the only one that I'm like, I understand. I don't know the guy. I don't know if he's a cool dude, but at least he was a fucking Olympian. He's not an obese. He's not just an obese prick that's never played sports in his life. At least, right? He was
a genuine, like, he was sort of. I remember his name back from watching Olympics back then. He was sort of like I think he was a flag bearer at the 2008 one, maybe. So he was a well-known Olympian. So agreed, that was a good pick. So they got one.
But that's it. That's it.
That was a low hanging fruit.
Look at how the conversation they're going. Joe Stradamus is saying Nick is Diane.
Robin is Carla. Cheryl. Misfit. How about just giving us a budget? I think I heard that they're not doing a budget.
That is part of what we're going to talk about today, because I had some things I wanted to talk as secondary topics, but they fit in with the minister itself, so I'll just wait until we're there. There's just two things actually that I wanted to talk about today when it comes to topics, like precursor topics, secondary topics. And motherfucker, we cannot, nobody can tell me that we're living in a democracy.
right,
Remember
what is it?
Terrebonne? Remember Terrebonne that was recounted like it was it went to the Bloc Québécois and then it got over they wanted a recount. They did a recount. Now the liberal candidate got elected by one vote with 840 rejected ballot. Well, there was a story that came out from this woman here saying that she actually mailed in her ballot on time like she was supposed to. It was denied because the return address was the sending, so the address you're sending to was incorrect. Yes,
the return address?
No.
Okay,
See, the address that you sent to was incorrect. Yet this is a federal government given envelope. This was pre-filled.
Oh, what? Come the fuck on.
They discounted her vote.
How?
Yet, but hold on.
Who did she vote for?
They discounted. She said it would have changed the election.
No
and
way.
Yet it got the election results in Terrebonne are final despite mailing errors. Election Canada. So it turns out that even though Election Canada themselves made a mistake, one vote difference between the winner and the second place, 840 fucking rejected ballots, one woman that clearly voted, mailed it in like she was supposed to. There was a mistake on the pre-filled election.
That's the kicker, man. That is the kicker. That's the kicker.
Yet it stands. We will not recount. The Liberal win by one vote. They are now 2 spots away from a fucking majority.
Every vote counts.
One word for
what about
this.
My vote? No, not yours.
No, sorry, you're a white girl from Montreal. We will need your vote.
What about my vote? Who'd you vote for? Not Liberal. No, it doesn't matter.
Sorry, not sorry. We don't need your vote. This is absolutely fucking ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Try to tell me now that we live in a democracy and that every single vote counts.
That is absolutely ridiculous. Nick says Vancouver is massively anti-Israel. Yeah, and I mean, I feel like in his place as I don't really know his politics too well, but in his place as Minister of Sport, I don't think it's really relevant. But a little bit of foreshadowing that is, it is relevant in some other positions. For example, that would be a relevant factor if someone was overtly anti-Israel or anti any specific country, if they were, for example, Minister of Foreign Affairs. And we will leave that just as a little bit of foreshadowing.
What do you mean?
Yes, what? But just on that note of sort of like mini precursor subjects, I'm going to throw mine out because it's literally only going to take 10 seconds and you're going to have a good laugh at it. It's the one I want to talk about.
Wow, sounds like remember performance.
Yeah, do you remember when we talked the other day about Big Mike?
Oh, of course. Big Mike's one of my favorite subjects to talk about.
Yes, of course. So
the big black man that was married to Obama. Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't really know if I buy that. It's like I don't think Michelle Obama is a man. But now I saw a clip though of another famous politician whose wife is very suspect. Old Cokie there, Macron from France. Like I just feel like it's so, I don't know, when they said when the people make criticism of liberal politicians' wives being men, I'm like, it just seems so on the nose. Like they can't all be men, and yet you hear about so many of them, right? But this one, man, I don't know. Just look at the body language of this person. This is Emmanuel Macron's wife, Bridget.
That's the president of France or the prime minister of France. They have both there. It's
just
so
look at
weird.
the body language. Like, come on. And it's not just this. I've seen this. I've seen lots of clips. That's a dude, man.
There's a bulge. If you scroll back a bit, it's either a very big foot. Look, stop. Right there. There's actually,
and just everything.
If she would have danced, it would have looked like Big Mike.
Like Big Mike. I don't know, man. I just and it's not like it's just this video. There's a lot of people who have been saying this for a long time, and there's some real weird shit going on with this whole relationship. Anyways, if you're familiar with it, Bridget Macron was his teacher when he was like 14 years old or 12 years old or something. I think she's 30 or 40 years older than him. And there's I don't know if there's any famous politician whose wife is actually a dude, it's that one. Just look. But
Big Mike and her.
Yeah.
Big Mike and her. Love or hate Trump, he does have a tendency to choose pretty good looking women. I'm just
Oh yeah. Well, at least they're women. I mean, if that it's anyways, I thought that was funny that Jason, there's a bulge. I mean, that's why you got to watch this show, because in between the hard hitting news, we're always going to have soft hitting news or the very hard hitting news.
I should have saved it, and obviously it must have been satire, but there was a post I saw, I think it was on Instagram. It was just a post of a criminal that says this man was arrested for drugging his dates. And then the explanation is like, oh yeah, man, I give them Viagra to make sure there's not a bulge. And I'm see?
Yeah. Buzzing. You never know these days, right?
Dating in 2025.
Yeah, exactly, right?
The drug of choice is Viagra.
Yes.
There's two things. So it looks like you need to give your dates Viagra and you need to bring them swimming. Those are the two things, because I've seen those makeup how-to where the woman looks like she's 65, no teeth, and then she's finished. You're like, what the fuck is going on here? Yeah. Dating in 2025 is fucking scary. I'm so happy I'm not a young man dating in 2025.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's definitely. It is definitely. It ain't like it used to be. That's for sure.
Let's take some of those comments and we'll jump right in.
Yeah, and then we'll get right to it. Sasquatch says Parliament hasn't been to work since October, and they are taking the summer off. The new PM is a real go-getter. Canada's in a nosedive, business as usual. Yeah, and again, wait, please.
Insane that we've been shut down since October.
Why are they not back? Why are they not to work yet? Like, I get it. Okay, the election's done. Like,
until the 28th, they don't want to stop. They don't want to do it until the 28th. And if I'm mistaken, is because our king is coming to Canada for the address.
Jesus Christ, nobody cares about that shit, man. Like,
so we've been shut down since October, and they're taking the summer off. So by the time they show up, they'll fuck around for a month and then another break. It's absolutely insane. It's absolutely fucking insane. Like, I understand Sasquatch when he says that Canada is his new favorite reality show. Like, it is.
Yeah.
I don't think that we could make it dumber as a show, even if we tried to. Like, I'm starting to think that we are on the same level of intelligence in Canada as the Kardashians. Like, I think their show and our show is pretty much the same.
Both the same. Yeah, it's like the same IQ level.
Yep.
Jason says, wait, they think the one with the most votes gets to win? Haha, buzzing. What a quaint idea, right? That's
how dare we think that's how it works?
How old were you when you first realized that's not how it works?
I was today old. I like that.
Yeah, today old. Guys, if you are joining us for the first time, welcome. We are the Political Orphans. Grab a seat, make yourself at home, throw something in the comments, because this show, as you can see, is built on audience engagement. And yeah, if you want to support us, you can join as a member on YouTube. $2.99 is the first level a month, and that supports us. It allows us to, eventually, we'd like to be able to do this sort of full time, so we can, even make the show a little longer. We can maybe hire people to do. I think you could do 3 hours if we had other people. If we had other people to like help out, Right now, it's a lot. Obviously, it's a lot of work, and to be fair, you are. You're definitely doing, I'd say it's like a 65-35 split. You're doing more of the work for sure.
Yeah, something like that. I would say so.
All good though. We're a team.
But the massive difference is that I post about this shit already.
Yeah.
Like, on your X, you don't really talk political as much as I do. I talk about this shit.
Yeah, I don't talk politics as much. Yeah.
Oh, that's all I talk about. That is all I talk about. So,
Jason, there's a balls. Yes.
bro, if there's a bulge, there's a problem.
Yeah.
Well, unless you're in that type of
Tony,
things, you know
happy
what?
Thursday to you, but sir.
No judgment. What's going on, Tony? What's going on?
Jason, Ivana was a hot mess. Sorry, Trump ain't better than. Yeah, Ivana was a big mess. Yeah, and Ivana was not. And I mean Stormy Daniels too. It's not. Honestly, Melania is probably the one that I really the only one I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see it.
She by a mess, you mean she was fugly?
Yeah. She might have been like 80s hot, but I don't understand the 80s, man. I like you look back at that decade and you're like,
Oh yeah,
what the fuck were they thinking? Like things that, things that look hot.
I take it back.
Yeah. Yeah. Can't all be winners. Can't all be winners.
No, but it's like buzzing.
Yeah. Wah, wah. But that said, I'm sure. Yeah, I mean his daughter's cute. Wise guy.
Oh, yeah. She was fugly. God damn.
Yeah. I mean, Don. What do you?
And
think,
he had to import her.
Yeah,
because she was imported, right?
Well, yeah, she's a model.
She's a model.
I'm sure when she was younger, she was probably
like the type of model that we see in advertisement today. Like there are whales on the covers. Like that type of model.
Yes, that one exactly. Wise guy says the machine runs itself as far as I can tell. Why should they go to work, right? Yeah, I guess so, but you'd think at least keep up appearances so the peasants don't ask questions, or the plebs
at least lie to me
lie to us, right? Let us come on.
Little sweet sounds in my ears while you're taking me from behind, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like
elbows up, bitches.
Misfit, can you put the video up again?
Outside of twat, it's probably my favorite expression now.
Elbows up.
Honey dicked, twat,
honey
dick. This every single time I hear a liberal say something stupid, I'm gonna do this. Like, let's go, elbows up.
Lee from X. Good to see you, Lee. And I am woman. Hear me roar. Thanks for tuning in, Lee. If you are on X, of course, you can comment there, and as you're doing now. But for anyone who is on X, most of the comments are over on YouTube. That's where all the action is. You can find a link to that below the post on X. But however you are, as long as you're here, that's what's most important. What do you think? Should we dive into it? Talk about the cabinet, because I feel like it's going to be a lot of.
It's going to be pretty much the whole thing. So if you want to get it started, I'm just posting our stuff on the X so that people join us on the YouTube.
Sure. I figured we'd start. I mean, it could be anywhere, but let's start with housing. So housing is Gregor Robertson. You may know him as the mayor of Vancouver from 2008 to 2018. And he is an interesting choice, I guess, to have as the Minister of Housing, because I did some research into housing prices. In July 2008, the year he took office, the average house price in Vancouver was $556,000. Can you imagine the average house price in Vancouver, 2008, $556,000? 10 years later, in 2018, when he left office, it was $1.59 million. A increase of roughly, was that 300%, or it tripled? Yes, in his defense, granted, the mayor of Vancouver, it's not like he has. There are other factors. There are some things he doesn't have control over, but he absolutely does have some say, and he has to bear some accountability. And to put this guy in charge of housing during a housing crisis, a housing affordability crisis, the optics of it are bad. So that's one strike against him. Doesn't look good. Now I've got a clip of this guy that I found, and I believe this is just from the other day. He was asked if housing prices need to go down. A very reasonable question to ask the housing minister during a housing affordability crisis. And I'll let him speak for himself.
Let's see if it's the same one I found. Yup. Fucking.
No, I think that we need to deliver more supply, make sure the market is stable. It's a huge part of our economy. We need to be delivering more affordable housing. The government of Canada has not been building affordable housing since the 90s, and we've created a huge shortage across Canada. That's where the big need is right now, and I'm very encouraged that the Prime Minister and our commitment right now in government is the double construction and focus on the affordable side.
So there's a couple things to unpack here. The one is just the obvious. This guy doesn't even know some of the most basic things about economics, supply and demand. He says, he's asked, do housing prices need to be go down? He says, no, I just think we need to deliver more supply. So in other words, housing prices will go down. That's literally what happens when you have more supply of a product, is the price goes down. And
you're assuming that they are located in the same area as,
of course. Yeah. So you're correct. There's assuming demand stays the same, because obviously if supply goes up, demand also goes up. It won't affect it. But just broadly speaking, it kind of strikes me as funny that he would say that, because typically, when supply goes up, the price of a thing goes down. But what I found sort of interesting here is, first of all, that he said no. The question was, do housing prices need to go down? He said no. And then he just said a lot of gobbledygook, that's sort of political nonsense that doesn't make sense. We have to make sure the market's stable, a huge part of our economy, blah, blah, blah. But what it suggests to me is this sort of magical thinking that the Liberals have in the housing market. They think they can have it both ways. They think they can protect the home values of the boomers who already own homes, while at the same time making housing affordable for newcomers to enter the market, people who don't have a home yet. But that's an either or proposition. In order to make houses more affordable, you're going to have to lower the price of housing, which will hurt the boomers. So it's just the whole thing he says here just suggests a complete lack of understanding of his core remit here, which is the housing market.
One of the things they never seem to talk about when it comes to housing is this. Did you know that in Canada, 1 out of 5 properties across Canada are owned by investors? They're corporations or private investors that actually own. So 20% of houses.
I didn't know that
Canada
number. That's wild.
Oh, no, but hold on. It gets worse. I got an article right here. Let me.
Yeah, okay.
I'll just share my screen.
You know what
here
that sounds like to me? That sounds like you'll own nothing and you'll like it, or you'll be happy.
Of course, because if you start looking at who owns those investment firms, would you be surprised where it goes back? Like to whose pocket it's going to go back?
Of course.
But see, like 1 out of 5 properties is owned by investors.
Bullshit. That's wild.
1 out of 5, that's 22%. But hold on. Like, look at this. The data shows that condominium in particular, which constitute majority of newly built houses in BC and Ontario, are held by investors in high numbers. Over a third of condos in BC are investor owned, with the number jumping to 41.2% in Ontario. So almost 1 out of 2 new builds in Ontario belong to private investors or to corporations. Like this is, so look at this. And this is something that's very fucking important, because if you're an investor and you live in your house, this is not the same.
Completely different. We're talking about houses that are either sitting empty or just being rented out for Airbnbs or something.
Mm-hmm. Look at those numbers here. You're talking about 20% in Ontario don't live there, 31.5% in Nova Scotia, 30% in New Brunswick, 20% in Manitoba, 23.3% in British Columbia. So it's absolutely insane when you think about it. And look at this. This is always the part that they're going to fuck you on. They're going to say, they're going to differentiate housing and condominiums. Yet, if you look at cities, what are they doing right now outside of Edmonton? Did you see that? They're actually demolishing houses. They buy the property, they demolish the house, they stack condos on them. So you're basically, but only 16.5% of houses in British Columbia are owned by investors. Hold on. How about you mention the 36.3% of condos And that's what's being built right now. So it's insane. When you look at those numbers, that means that you have almost 50% across the board. They're owned by private investors. That's insane when you think about it.
That's ridiculous. That's absolutely. Sorry, finish that.
But what I was going to say is that's something that's been going on. Like if you look at Montreal, for example, that's been going on for at least 10 years. Yep. Under Trudeau, he basically opened, I cannot remember what the name is, but he allowed foreign investors, especially Chinese investors.
Oh yeah, and that's what happened in Vancouver.
To buy housing that they don't live
in.
Montreal,
they're just sitting there empty. They're sitting there empty.
Montreal is filled with condos that are empty because think about it. If you look at normal years, you can get a 10-12% increase on property value.
Easy.
In a major easy 10-12%. So
especially in a Vancouver or
do you care that it's occupied? Of course not, because at the end of the day, if nobody lives there, that means you don't need to do anything. You don't need to fix anything. You don't need to worry about anything. You don't need to heat it. You don't need to pay for electricity. But it's like an investment account. You're like, bang, money, leave it there. It's all good. But yet you don't see a guy like him address that, and he won't. He obviously won't. But this has been a problem for at least 10 years. It's insane that they don't address that.
And that's a place where they absolutely can address it because, I'll hear the argument said once in a while.
Where Billy is bang on, by the way. I'm sorry to cut you off, but
which one?
BlackRock and Vanguard are the one that own most of them.
100%. And, I'll hear the argument sometimes like, oh, well, government can't, just pick housing prices with the flick of a switch. That's the market. Well, yeah, of course it's the market, but government can set policies and those policies have a direct effect on the market. One real simple policy, why not have any home that's not lived in, not owner occupied, has a fucking 500% home ownership tax or something. What that would do is it would just force the investors to sell because they own massive amounts of empty homes, and then that excess supply coming on the market would push down prices, making it more affordable. But they don't want to do that. They don't want to make it affordable. They are intentionally protecting keeping the cost of houses high to protect the wealth of the boomers, and that's fine if that's that's their political calculation that's helpful for them. But don't be surprised when all the younger people are going to get pissed off and vote against you, and that's what we saw. That's what we saw this last election. It was the boomers that saved Carney.
I don't know what the solution is because it's multifaceted. And
it's complex.
As someone that believes in capitalism over everything else, like I believe in free speech, I believe that the best way that we have, at least right now, is through allowing people to make money. If you work harder, you make more money, makes sense to me. How do you stop what's going on right now? One thing's for sure, foreigners should not be allowed to own real estate here.
Yeah, and that's an easy policy. That's an easy policy you can put in.
Yeah, that would be one. Two, we need to put a stop to mass immigration like we're doing right now, because you remember the numbers I was showing you. Mm-hmm. They want to build a few million houses by the end of 2030, yet we're still bringing in more people than the house that they can build. Because now we're talking about we've heard the number around 500,000. We're bringing in at least 1 million people a year.
Yeah.
So how are we ever going to match that need if there's already a need right now, we keep on bringing people in without building those houses? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, any way you look at it, I just don't know what the I don't want to say policies. But hold on. I don't want to tell people that they cannot own houses because they don't live in it. Like, I don't want to be able to say that to people, but should corporations be able to do that? Should foreign corporation with offices? Because it's stupid, right? You can literally, if a foreigner can afford one, that means they don't even need to, their main office doesn't even need to be here.
Well, and that's a major factor in the housing market explosion in Vancouver. There is a ton of very rich Chinese people who they understand that they are, their wealth is in danger at all times, just because they're, if they live in a communist country, and at any time the government can just take their money. So this is their escape plan, owning 20, 30, 40, 50 million dollar homes over in Vancouver. And the end result is you've got hundreds, if not thousands, of homes that are just sitting there empty while we have a housing crisis, because they're not really being used as homes. They're being used as essentially investment portfolios for rich Chinese people.
And that's a great point.
Like Misfit's suggestion here. That's a great suggestion.
Never going to happen, though. There's no way that foreigners will have to wait 10 years before they're allowed to vote. As much as I agree with you 100%, it's never going to happen. That's how the Liberals have been buying votes.
Or before they're allowed to own property, too. I think that's a reasonable thing to say as well.
Lee, by the way, hi. I remember you from X, and now I see the little YouTube. So you actually did do the transfer from one to the other. So we appreciate you joining us here. Yes, I agree that the government's corrupt. It's funny because, Lee, we talked about this. How about that vote that Elections Canada will not count in Terrebonne, the one that was mailed in with an envelope pre-filled out by the federal government, and somehow they made a mistake in the postal code, and her vote won't. It's absolutely insane. We started the show with this, so next time, show up on time. But thanks for having you here, though.
I see your avatar from the X post. Is that the British Columbia flag? So if you're from BC, what obviously a little more than we do about the housing market out there. Is that kind of what's going on? A lot of these rich Chinese people or Asian Chinese money flowing into the housing market, because that's, as I understand it, that's kind of what's going on. And like you said, Nico, it is a very obviously complex problem. There are multifaceted things. There are some things that you just can't do. However, there are some policies that you could put in place, like, for example, no foreign ownership of homes. Yep. I agree with you. Some people just want to own a couple homes, and I think that's fine. But I think you could reasonably put a cap on 5 homes. I don't see any reason why any one person needs to own more than 5 homes.
It's an investment house, people. So that means that the next thing you're going to do is to start telling people what they can and cannot invest in. Like, you can't. You can't play. No, but I think but it's the same. But it's the same thing. Some people want the house
slope argument. I get that, but I think you can silo off housing as a specific and unique investment class.
I don't. The thing is as soon as there is a lack of housing, there's going to be a price increase. No questions about it. This is what needs to be addressed. Yeah. How do you address that? Obviously, we need to build more. I want nothing. I don't want the government to be involved whatsoever. Mm-hmm. Remove the red tape. Remove all the bullshit red tape that prevents private companies from building housings to match the need. Put a cap on for ownership. They shouldn't be allowed to own properties in Canada if they don't fucking live here. And then put a cap on immigration, saying, you know what, let's take a couple of years hiatus, like a year or two. Let's reanalyze everybody that's here. Stop bringing people in when you clearly cannot afford to have them here. We don't have the housing. So no government application in housing outside of removing the red tape. They shouldn't be allowed to fucking build that shit. When I've never heard of the government department doing something better, more efficient, and cheaper than a private
sector.
So there's a few things. I'd be curious if we just start with stop mass immigration and put a hiatus so that we can review where we should be. Let's see cap foreign ownership. And if right now you own those houses, find a way to have them to sell it. If they can confiscate my fucking guns, they're able to find a way to do this. And those are 2-3 things that we can do right off the bat, but never is addressed. And we're just fucking 2 normal guys just talking about this.
Yeah. Like, it's not.
You have fucking the Vancouver mayor that destroyed fucking house that has a massive housing crisis in Vancouver. On his watch is now our housing minister, and somehow he doesn't believe that there's a housing problem. Are you fucking crazy?
It's ridiculous. And I think you're right. There, if you want to solve the problem, you kind of have to attack both the supply and demand. Of course, housing market is a complex market, and there's a lot of moving parts. But fundamentally, at the very base, it is like all markets. Supply and demand is what dictates it. So by addressing the immigration issue, you're attacking the demand thing, because the fact of the matter is, you bring in 500,000 or 1 million extra bodies every year, that's going to increase demand for housing. And if supply is not keeping up, which it is not, then of course housing prices will go up. So yeah, I think you probably want to attack it from both ends. Cut down on the demand a little bit by stop bringing in so many people, and beef up the supply a little bit by cutting red tape. I think that alone would certainly help. It wouldn't solve it, but it would help a lot.
And I agree with Lee, by the way. People, don't forget to like this video. So like, share, comment, join us on YouTube.
Yes.
I agree, Lee. Thank you for making our job easier.
Yeah, Lee, you're fitting in great already. Sasquatch says in Toronto, people are losing 300 to 500,000 on homes. Yeah, so I've been reading some interesting things coming out of specifically the Toronto condo market, because as you said, since so many of these things are being bought by investors, many of them are not, like many of the new condos in Toronto are not even being built. They're not even designed to be lived in. They're designed to be investment properties. So they're very small. They have nice finishings, but they're not at all, like, they're not built for actual people to live in. And what's happening now is there's the condo market in Toronto is crashing hard as we speak. And I think that there's a chance that this might sort of begin the crash of the housing market in general. And even as someone who wants to see lower housing prices, that doesn't mean you want to crash either, right? The crash is not a good way to do it.
The thing is that what was the numbers? Hold on, let me bring those numbers again. So they're saying that right now in Ontario, it was 42% of new builds. So 15% of houses are owned by investors and 42% by investors. And investors could be a dude like me, or it could be a corporation. 42% of condos.
That number should be like 5%, maybe 10%.
The thing is that, think about it this way. Those guys don't care if there's a market crash, because you know what are they going to do? They're going to buy more. They're going to buy more because it's cheaper. They're going to buy more because they play the long game. They're not living there. It's like, if you understand a bit, if you know anything about investment, like you understand the SP 500. Why do you invest in the S&P 500? Because it grows 10-12% year over year for decades. You don't even need to look at it. You fucking put your money in. Don't look at it. Just continue putting. Don't look at it. Don't care. It's fine. Yep. It's going to be fine. The housing market's the same. You can put money in a housing market and you don't care. Because even if it crashes, what's going to happen? It's going to start creeping up at one point. So it's fine. Unless your country becomes communist and the government takes it away from people, that is where you need to be careful. And that is why Chinese people don't fucking buy houses in China. They buy it here because we're not yet under a communist country, communist government. So you got to be careful when it's that, because they don't want you to own anything. But in a capitalist environment, they have nothing to lose. It doesn't matter that it crashes, because it will come back up. It's like 2008 when it crashed in the US. Do you think that the guys that invested, that bought those houses as investors, they stopped buying? Oh, fuck no. They're like, everything's on sale, motherfuckers. Yeah. I can buy a shit ton of houses for nothing. That's what they did. And now they're worth a shit ton of money. I know a guy that bought a house in Miami for peanuts in 2008 as an investment. He paid a couple hundred. It's worth a couple million now.
And don't get me wrong. There's a difference. There's a difference between a Canadian who's buying a home as an investment, perhaps a second property, and a registered corporation that's buying hundreds of properties that it never intends to live in. It's just going to hold them as literally, just their portfolio. Like they've got some gold, they've got some stocks, they've got some bonds, they've got some homes. And I think it's dangerous to treat homes specifically exactly as an investment class. It is an investment class, but it's also a necessity of life as well. And
I don't know what the solution is, but at the same time, I think we have to blame the people too, because we do, and I was one of them too. We do want a bigger house. We do want bigger cars. We do want this. We do want that. We want multiple houses. So we are greedy by nature, and we don't understand what we actually need. Now, should that be a precursor for you not being able to own as many as you want? No. That's the thing. I don't know what the solution is, but there's definitely key things we can do right now. We named 3 that we could do right now.
Yeah.
That would start.
It would help. It would help, right? And at this point, all you're looking for is to help. Yeah. It's not like, can we solve it? No, we can't. But we can really relieve a lot of the pressure and make it more
I think so.
affordable. And that's a win if you can do that. I mean, as Tony G here says, can't wrap my head around the government building home. Nobody built my home for me. If you want a home, you buy a home. Tired of the rhetoric. Drop interest rates, stop foreign home investment. Yeah, that's right. That's 2 of those 3 solutions. And that
Put a hold on immigration. There you
Yeah.
go. That's the
3
3.
things. Boom. I mean, that would probably fix 60 or 70% of the crisis. It wouldn't solve it, but it would help. And
But
that's
that could
really
be one of the things, right? You prevent interest rate from going as high as you set up, let's say, a 5% as a maximum interest rate that you can pay on the mortgage. You know what I mean? Like, there's ways to kind of, because even if it's there has to be ways outside of what we're thinking that could make it easier for
yes.
people. Just easier. I'm not saying it should be free. I'm not one of those guys.
No, of course not.
But it should be easier.
Yes. Yeah. There is a sweet spot where, it does have to be difficult. You know what I mean? It can't be, it has to be, there has to be some amount of like you work, you save up what's the word? Down payment, I mean, it should be it should require some discipline, but it shouldn't be impossible. And there's a sweet spot for that. And we are not on it right now.
Hey, Melissa, what's going on?
Melissa, how's it going?
Joel Stradamus seems to agree with you. Rob is spot on. Housing should definitely push more towards owner occupant and away from corporate ownership. That's the thing, right? Because there's one thing about, I was an investor before. Like, I had a place in Montreal and I had a place in the woods. Should that be prevented? No. Like, I think that people should be allowed to own a housing, and not everybody wants to buy a house. Like, my parents-in-law want to sell theirs to go live in a rented condo because they don't want to deal with housing ownership anymore. So there are people like them that just don't want to, and it's easier to move, right? If you don't own your place, you just rent it. It's easier to break a lease than it is to break a fucking mortgage. I can tell you that much. So, but I don't like to put caps on things. So I think I don't like to tell people, yeah, you can't do this, you can't do that. Like, no, I don't like it. But if we can prevent outsiders from buying houses, that's one. Keep interest low. That's 2. Make sure corporations, but how do you define corporation? Because I've had corporations before. You can create a corporation or an LLC for yourself, right? So should they be maybe foreign investors shouldn't be allowed, foreign corporations shouldn't be allowed, but that means they can easily open a small little office here in a corporation in Canada.
Well, that's what I mean.
There's always fucking ways around them, unfortunately. I don't know what can be done to stop it.
There's nothing going to be a perfect solution, but I think some of those options are certainly going to help. But the point is none of the government is not actually discussing any of those options in any real term, and that's the problem. It's like, okay, so you can't fix it, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't do things to try to help, like, make it a little better.
This is one thing we should find. We should move on to the next ones because goddamn, our list is long. All I'm going to say is we should find an expert to address this and talk about what are the really the big problematics that we have and how can we fix it without preventing people from doing what they want to do, right? Because Joe is asking, are corporations people? Actually, they are considered
legally. They are
legally. They are a legal entity. So are we. Now, again, I don't claim to have all the solutions. I really don't. I just don't like restraining people. That's what I don't like. I don't like putting restrictions on people.
Definitely one of the places we definitely disagree on, and I think this shows the more traditional left-right split is I'm more comfortable with some restrictions on some things like that if it makes sense. To me, that does. I have no problems putting a restriction on just limiting, maybe not eliminating, but just limiting non-owner occupied homes. If you're like, I think of a limit of 5. I think it's reasonable that if you're rich, you might want to own a couple homes, and I think you should be allowed to do that. I do believe in the free market, and I think that I am a believer in capitalism as the best economic system and all those things. But I think a reasonable restriction in my mind would be something like 5 homes. I think it's perfectly fine to say you can't own more than 5 homes.
I don't know, man. I would have to be sold, but
yeah, That's fair.
No matter how we see it, once again, we disagree on the solution, but we agree that there's a problem. And it's just that conversation needs to be had. I think the whole point of this conversation that we're having right now, and you can see from the comments, nobody agrees on what should be done, but we all see that there's a fucking problem. And unfortunately, it's not being addressed whatsoever.
Yes.
Like no ministers is showing up. Like that fucking idiot is basically telling us that there's no problem. Like, we'll build more houses.
He just showed a complete lack of understanding of the real problem. And I agree with what you said. Like, the debate we're having in here, if the government out there was having that debate, I'd feel so much better about it, because this is where it's healthy and productive. But yes, we should move on because we've got a lot.
But hold on, before we do, guys, make sure to smash that like button on YouTube. If you're there and you're listening to us, just as Jason Pumpkin Spice Latte would say, smash that like button, because it does help us with the algorithm to put our show in front of more people. So if you're on YouTube right now watching, smash. And
if you really want to support us, if you think that there's a need for this show, you go ahead.
Oh no, I'm just.
I was tossing it to you. I was tossing it to you, but I'll take it. I'll run it into the end zone. If you really want to support us, and you're on YouTube, think about getting a membership. There's different levels, but it starts at $2.99 a month. That will give you priority on the comment section here, and you will also be able to have full access to the Discord server, where the discussion that we have here continues over there 24/7. And as Nico was saying earlier, this is it's essentially a crowdsourced podcast. There's a lot of content topics that we discuss here that are coming directly from suggestions over on the Discord server.
Joe, it's not bullshit. It's not a bullshit interpretation. The corporation is seen as a legal entity. So are we. We are seen as legal entities too. So I know what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying, but to say it's a bullshit interpretation is incorrect. It is still, they are still legal entities.
They are legal entities.
So,
but that's because,
like it or not, is a different conversation. But should they be allowed to do what they do? No, they shouldn't. Because I don't think we have a capitalistic problem. We have a corporational problem. It's the corporations that have too many rights. Well, this is where the problem resides. Like we should, again, this is an episode in itself, but capitalism is not the problem. It's the way corporations are treated as humans, and they basically have the same and they almost have the same rights as we do. So
why are you laughing? Bumpy Johnson here. I'll tap the like after getting Darvo by Jason Levine. I just can't let it go.
Brother, Bumpy, you can't let people live in your head like that.
Yeah, you're allowed to not like them. But here's the thing. Jason was a guest on our show, right? And we both personally like Jason. Like, we've spent a lot of time with him. I just like the guy. I don't, you may disagree with him on things, but I'm just like, we're not going to allow, if I invited someone over to my home, I'm not going to allow someone else to attack them. It's the same kind of thing, like he's a guest in our home here, but also it wasn't really the topic we were talking about. We were talking about Alberta. No, I was going to say Nico is a legal fiction.
Yeah.
Nico's a legal fiction.
I appreciate that, bro. I don't know, man. Maybe we're just all living in the Matrix and I am just a figment of your imagination. I don't even exist. Who knows?
And I love when Nico tells me I'm wrong and then tells me all the ways he agrees with me. French diplomacy.
No, it's not that I agree with you. It's because you're only looking at one side of the equation. Like, I'm not disagreeing with you that they shouldn't have the same rights as human beings, but the point of the matter is that they do. Well, they are legal entities. So I'm just stating facts. You're providing your opinion as to the philosophical aspect of the conversation. That's all I'm saying. And one is not wrong.
And you're right that we are, like, as far as the legal system is right now, it is that corporations are considered a person and have legal rights, but that's only because we decided that as a society through our court system. We could decide the other way if we wanted to.
I'm not sure that I didn't vote for this. Yeah, I definitely didn't.
Well, no, but just the court systems, its precedents and all that stuff. But yeah, it's definitely a worthwhile topic, but probably one that is, like you said, a topic in and of itself. So we'll probably move on to the next one.
Very fucking conversations on here.
Yeah, well,
it's one of those things. God damn, we have some smart commenters.
It's the beauty of this show. So when we get
I wanted to talk about one guy before we.
Yeah, we'll just go back and
continue.
forth. You pick the next one.
But there's one guy, Evan Solomon. Do you guys know this guy? Like he was this fucking fumes me because I am a sales engineer by trade. I've worked in telecommunications for 20 years. This is what I fucking studied. This is what I made a career in. And before before I was kicked out of my career for not being medically sound. This is what I did for a living. This is literally what I did for a living. And Carney, as part of his Carneys, did you guys get the joke? The Carneys, like, well, the
Carneys.
Meet the Carneys. Did you get the joke?
I mean, maybe. Like, what do you mean?
Do you know what a Carney is?
Oh, yeah.
That's why in the background there's fucking clowns and
yes.
So I'm basically I was calling them a bunch of fucking clowns.
Yeah. Well,
so that's why when you said meet the Carneys, I'm like, oh motherfucker, that's actually pretty funny. Yes, Carnival Carneys. That's exactly correct. That's where I was going with this. But the point is that this dude, Ivan, however the fuck we pronounce his name. Let me bring up his. No, it's EVAN. So
okay, fucking weirdos.
Ivan. So here's the dude we're talking about. So this guy, explain to me this. He is our new Minister of AI, artificial intelligence. This guy's background is this: how CBC broadcaster who got fired for brokering art deals with people he interviewed. Mark Carney being one of them. So basically, the guy is a CBC broadcaster that got fired from CBC. You got to try hard to fucking get fired from CBC, but he got fired from CBC for brokering art deals. So basically,
essentially corruption is what he got fired for corruption.
Yep. And one of the guys that he sold to is Mark Carney.
Oh, really? Well, that's it. Yeah. Really? Okay, so that sounds like actual corruption, like legitimate.
No shit, but
that's relevant. That's really relevant.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Do a research for that article if you want to find it, because this is something that's been around for. This was done a while ago, but here's what I found interesting. So yesterday I posted about this, and I always love to share what people tell me on my posts. Love it. But here is bang. This guy yesterday I just posted saying, I don't know if you guys follow a guy named Theo Fleury. He used to be an NHL player.
Oh yeah, the hockey player.
That dude is out there. I fucking love. I love his post. He's just love him or hate him. That guy's fucking entertaining as shit. But either way, he's like, he asked a question. We have 0 cabinet ministers who are qualified for the appointment they have been given. So that was his comment. I just responded to him saying my favorite is Evan Solomon being chosen for AI minister. Facepalm. A journalist with no tech experience is responsible for AI innovation, which you could consider the biggest innovation of our time. Like this is going to change the fucking world. It's already changed the world.
Absolutely.
Now, somebody by the name of Terrence Wade yesterday told me that he was the partner responsible for new media, tech innovation, and AI at Eurasia for 4 years. Try again, Claude Paul. Of course, he calls me name because he doesn't agree with me. Turns out that guy is full of shit because he basically just repeated what he heard somewhere. But as a guy that was in sales for a very long time, you know what I learned? I learned how to do research, and fucking LinkedIn is a great place to go in order to figure out what people do. And this is the guy. This is Evan Solomon. And yes, he did work for Eurasia. You know what Eurasia does? It's a risk assessment firm for geopolitics. I did a full background check on this guy. Nowhere does it say that he worked on AI innovation. Nowhere. So you got a guy that is a broadcaster that then was a partner for Eurasia Group that specializes. They describe themselves as the world leading global political risk research and consulting firm. That's what they do. I went through their whole website. Not one mention of AI. Not one. Not even we use tools that are AI to help you. No. Not one. Not fucking one mention. Yet this is the guy that's responsible for arguably the biggest technology innovation of our time.
Bumpy
Absolutely.
Johnston. Evan Solomon's qualifications. He has artificial intelligence. I
Yeah.
like that. I like that. But yeah, I mean, that's a great example of, especially on some of these these kind of portfolios. You kind of want someone with some expertise. It's brand new. Not a lot of people really understand it. It's not really just something that you throw to some crony because you got a good deal on some art under the table a few years back. But yeah, that's just one example of the many that we're going to show here today of just head scratchers, right? Like what the fuck were they thinking? And as we're going to paint a picture here. By the time this episode's done, you're going to be like, what the fuck was he doing?
He knows exactly what he was
Well,
doing.
yeah, that's true too. That's true too.
Mark Carney is not an idiot. Let's not, because I don't like him, I'm not gonna call him an idiot and underestimate him. Because that guy's fucking dangerous as shit. That guy's not stupid.
Oh no, absolutely.
We cannot underestimate a guy like him because he has connections. Obviously, he knew Trump. Obviously, he knows the king. Obviously, he knows everybody that's anybody in Europe. He was on the WEF board. He is a globalist banker. He was part of the UK monetary system. Like, that dude is as bad as it gets. So let's not underestimate him saying that he doesn't know what he's doing. But what blows my mind is how are people not questioning this? Like, you sent me an article from the CBC, which they were talking about most of the new ministers and the secretaries of state. And then I went through all of them and they're not questioning them at all. They're just small resume as to who they are, what they do. And I'm like, is that not problematic? Like, your description and the role that's attached to their new job description makes no sense. Like, why the fuck are they there? Why are you guys not asking the question?
You'd like to see some connection between your portfolio and your expertise, but again, that's one example where we definitely don't see it. One of many that we're going to see here.
You want to talk about Julia de Brayson?
Well, I'm going to do that. That's actually yeah, that's the one I'm going to jump onto next. So before I get to her, just a bit of context. I wanted.
That's freaky.
I should have brought.
You're sharing our screen of us on screen. That is so creepy.
Yeah, that is weird. Wait, where did the? Here, I'll redo it here.
Yep.
So this is a tweet from Danielle Smith, which I think gives some context to. I was going to play this before we talk about any of them, but better late than never. So the first, she tweeted this last night. The first is just pretty generic political stuff. Here's where she talks about the cabinet specifically. I'm very concerned that the Prime Minister has appointed what appears to be yet another anti-oil and gas environment minister, Julie de Bruyson. Not only is she a self-proclaimed architect of the designation of plastics as toxic, but she is a staunch advocate against oil sands expansion, proponent of phasing out oil and gas, and for the last 4 years, she has served as a right-hand man to former environmental minister and militant environmentalist Stephen Guilbeault. So Guilbeault. All right. So we're gonna jump into. Actually,
the prior environment and climate change minister, Stephen Guilbeault was the man that did that was doing Julie de Brayton's job.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So he got moved over to culture, and actually just since he was her boss for the last few years. And so I got a video on him. We'll just quickly hit him just because they're both kind of connected.
Before you do, let me show this because I posted about this morning.
Yep.
This picture, and no, this picture was not taken in 2022 when phase diapers were mandatory.
Yeah, I had that picture too. For fuck's sake.
This was taken May 13th, just after the announcement.
That's both of them.
This was taken.
That's Guilbeault and de Bruyson.
That is why I'm showing it. But so you have two of our ministers with phase diapers in 2025 on May 13th after the announcement, just before this. But this is where it gets very fucking interesting. So they were wearing this just before this.
So what the fuck is the point,
Like,
man?
you have two ministers wearing face diapers as virtue signaling, and those are the people responsible for environment and climate change. And then they take a picture with all the ministers. They're literally kissing each other. They're so close they could kiss each other. No face diapers whatsoever.
That's so.
How
it's
is
so
this
ridiculous.
not? How is this not fucking virtue signaling? Like,
Well, it
this
is.
This, yeah.
It 100% is. It's just as Sasquatch here says, that picture up sums up Canada. Sadly, it does. I mean, it does. They know it doesn't actually do anything, or else they would have had it in the picture. But they know that there's, it's political signaling to the fucking retards. That I don't know.
Well,
Can we say that word?
Well, you can. We're not on TikTok anymore because I
Okay.
get banned all the time. So
Right.
I stopped streaming there. But yeah.
And yeah, Misfit says fucking clowns. Pretty sure they proved that those diapers didn't do shit. Yes, they did. Okay, so that picture was a great way to
You're welcome.
to bring those up. So we'll do them as a tag team then, because they are both kind of the same. So we'll start with Gibbolt, and then we'll jump onto to Bryson. So this one is
Gilbo.
Gibbo. Gilbo. Is he French? Gilbo. Okay. Gilbo Baggins. Gilbo Baggins.
He is super short.
Is he of the Shire?
Oh yeah. Oh no. Gilbo is like the height of Mark Carney.
Oh really?
So
okay.
So yes, he could be from the Shire. Yes, indeed.
All right. So. And and this is actually we played it yesterday, but I just think that it's relevant in case you didn't catch the show yesterday. So this is 24 hours after he became cabinet minister. He says no to pipelines. Now remember, this is Mark Carney specifically is very overtly saying we're going to build pipelines, we're going to do these things, and then here's his minister. So his minister is either not on page or he is on the same page, and he's just saying, this is the game Carney's playing. He'll say, with one hand, he'll say the thing that the boomers and normies want to hear, and then he's got his radical activist cabinet who is sort of virtue signaling to all the far left idiots to say, no, don't worry, we're not actually going to get these things done. So here's what he says.
Mr. Smith says that she's still concerned that you're part of the cabinet, and also the new selection of Mr. Boozen for the environment minister. She says it's too close of a tie to you. What do you say in response to that?
I think we will have to agree to disagree with Premier Smith. We think that protecting the environment, fighting climate change is important. Lots of Canadians believe that as well. It was a central element of our platform, and we will make good on our commitments.
The Prime Minister last night on TV seemed to open the door to potentially changing the emissions cap or the IAA to get projects built. What do you think of what he said?
Well, these are important conversations that we will need to have in the coming weeks.
Let's not answer the question.
No, yeah. I was just thinking that. Holy fucking non-answer.
In response to her concerns, just broadly about the cabinet.
Yeah, you're right,
How do
Hillbilly.
you deal with national unity? How do you address
That
that?
I like
is a punch.
Sasquatch.
So on pipelines,
Oh.
people should remember that we bought a pipeline, Trans Mountain, and that is only used right now about 40% capacity. So I think before we start talking about building an entire new pipeline, maybe we should maximize the use of existing infrastructure. And the Canadian Energy Regulator, as well as the International Energy Agency, are telling us that probably by 2028, 2029, demand for oil will peak globally.
Oh my God, they've been
and will
saying this
also
shit
peak
for
in
decades.
Canada. So as far as I know, there are no investors right now. There are no companies that are saying that they want to build an east-west pipeline. And as you know, these things are built by companies, not.
Once again, the Liberal government creating a problem and then trying to sell you the idea that there's no problem.
Yeah.
You know what? We've put so much red tape and made it impossible. I think Poliev said on the campaign trail that it takes about 10 years right now just to go through the approval and all the shit to maybe build a pipeline. But don't worry, it's because there's no company interested in actually building here. It has nothing to do with end demand. Who needs gas anymore?
They put up so much red tape that it's not economically feasible. And then when the investors are clearly saying, well, no, we can't build a pipeline under these conditions, they take that as like, see, look, no one wants to build a pipeline. Well, yeah, you fucking idiot, because you made it that way. That's like saying, if your wife tells you to get rid of your old your motorcycle that you don't want to sell, and you're like, okay, babe, and you put it on the, you go to sell it, you put it for $1 million. Hey, I don't know what to tell you. No one wants to buy it. Well, yeah, it's because you're asking for fucking $1 million. Price it at the market rate and see what happens.
Nope, never gonna happen. Robin is saying they made a pipeline, pretend it will go up 40% used ? No, it's 80% used. No one is acting for it because you shut them down and had no choice to stop asking. And but this is what it is. If you make it impossible for a private company, this is the difference between private companies and governments. Private company actually do care about the bottom line. They have investors, they have a budget, and if they do what government do and just fucking spend money like it doesn't exist, like there's no end to it, they're gonna go bankrupt. That's why, fucking governments, always governments, fucking I know. It just they drive. No, but I used to deal with them all the time in my past job. Like I used to deal with the provincial and federal governments, and you know what they would tell us at the end of the year? They would be like, our budgets are pretty tight, but come back beginning of next year, because their budgets are beginning of March, right? Their fiscal year is not the same as ours. It's like your taxes, basically. Your taxes is fiscal years for the government. So they would say, you know what, come back at the end and we'll spend the money there, because if we have any money extra that's left, we need to spend it, or else they're going to cut our budget for next year. So and I'm just like, as a business guy, you're just like, okay, you know what? I want to sell my services. But as a taxpayers, you're like, what'd you just say? That you spend extra money at the end of your fiscal year to make sure that your budgets are not cut. That's how the government works. So don't give me this shit that nobody wants to invest. You just made it fucking impossible for them to invest, and then you're like, we don't need a pipeline because nobody wants to invest.
And if you cut the red tape and made it make sense, they would want to invest. And it's all disingenuous from start to finish. Yeah. The way he's talking about, the Trans Mountain pipeline is barely utilized. Well, first of all, as Robin says, and I'll just take her numbers, but we'll assume. But even if he's correct, it's underutilized. Has nothing to do with an east-west pipeline. There are different markets, the different economics. You're going to sell to different people. You're going to sell different products. The business case for the east-west pipeline has nothing to do with whether the Trans Mountain pipeline is utilized or not. And he must know that. So he's either a liar or he's an idiot.
He is not stupid.
Yeah. I don't know which is better, but okay. So that's Gilbolt. Gilbolt, is that right? Gilbo. Okay, so that's I like over here, Gilbo Gaggins.
This is the new term for him every Gilbo. Time, because he is a midge. He is a super short person, and he has one of those faces that
very punchable. Very punchable.
You just
right in the left.
It'd be a front kick. It'd be a front kick. Like I'd go, or knee right in the face. He's so short that I can knee him in the face without even tippy-toeing. That could be beautiful stuff. Like, boom.
So that's Gilbo Gaggins, and he is the Minister of Culture. Now, because we're going to tag team them both, because the new Minister of Environment, we're going to quickly jump to hers, and then you can bring in the next one you want to talk about. She is what's her name again?
Julie
DeBrusen, and she is an environmentalist activist.
Of course,
she is liberal. New here, I'll bring up a tweet that she sent. If you can see that there, liberal environmental minister Julie DeBrusen on emissions caps on the oil and gas sector just 6 months ago. This is a kick in the teeth to Alberta. And I agree. Like a lot of these picks, it seems like Carney wants to inflame Western separatism. So she says, this is the new environmental minister. Imagine if you're Alberta, and you're looking at this. What is the messaging that you're getting here from this pick for environmental minister? She says, we're taking action to cap pollution from the oil and gas sector with new draft regulations that aim for a 35% reduction in emissions by 2030. The cap positions Canada to be competitive? No, it doesn't. To create and keep good jobs for generations? No, it doesn't. And tackle the rising cost of climate change? No, it doesn't. But see what she's doing here. She's talking about, we want to cut 35% reduction in emissions, right? We just want to reduce the emissions. but of course, the emissions come from production, right? So what she's saying is we're going to reduce production by 35%, and that directly translates to jobs in Alberta. If you're reducing emissions by 35%, you're reducing production by 35%. You're probably reducing jobs by thousands, if not tens of thousands, of very, very well-paying jobs. And that is exactly what Alberta has an issue with. So to put this person in the environmental position, to me, it strikes me as a kick in the fucking teeth. Oh, can you guys see this one too?
Yep.
So
there's no place for an activist in politics.
That's what she is. She's an activist.
100%. She is an activist. 100%.
You're right. And there will be activists in parliament. You know, there's nothing you can do about that. There should be no activists in anybody's cabinet. Here's Julie DeBrusen. Climate change is the number one issue for Canada. Is it? I don't like. It's your right to think that it's the number one issue, but I suspect if you polled all Canadians, it would not be the number one issue, and it's dangerous to have a cabinet minister who assumes that it is. She says she's on her. Yeah. So this is an activist that
I've seen studies that says so. Right now, look at the Canada's shares of global emission decreased from 1.76% in 2005 to 1.4% in 2021. So we don't even. So let's say that I believe those numbers because they're posted on the Government of Canada. Of course, I believe them.
Yeah.
But let's say that I assume that this is true. We hold 1.4% of the world's carbon emission.
So exactly.
And I would argue that we have zero, that we probably contribute like a minus 10% because of our forests and we have so much fucking trees here. But let's say I believe them, 1.5%. We're blocking our most lucrative industry for 1.5% when China produces something like 30. Are you fucking kidding me? The fuck is our problem? And
but also they won't trade with us unless we put a price on carbon. Shut the fuck up.
The UK only, but it seems that they will trade with the US at 12 or 15% of the world emission.
Who has no price on carbon. It's all nonsense.
They're 10 times. They literally produce 10 times more carbon than we do, and the UK will do business with them. I wonder what happened.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you Trump didn't promise a carbon tax. I guarantee you that.
No. I mean, that's the thing. Even if you're like a genuine hardcore environmentalist and you believe that climate change is very serious, blah, 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 you still have to be pragmatic. Like, there's nothing that we can do that is going to affect either good or bad. You know, we could be exploiting all of our resources. We could be pumping out so much oil of the oil sands. Well, we might go up to 2%. You know what I mean? It's not going to make a difference. So we may as well just build our country, build our economy, and at least if we have these projects here in Canada, we have some control over it, and we can, because Canada has some of the strictest environmental regulations in the world. We can protect the environment far better than if it goes to China, which it will, and they'll just fucking, they'll just do whatever the fuck they want. They won't have the slightest concern for the environment. So it's this nonsense, just purity test from the left, which is saying, oh, well, we can't do it because it's not, because it can't be done without releasing any emissions. And then we all feel so good about ourselves. We're high and mighty. But then China does it at fucking 10 times the emissions. Nonsense.
If you're that worried about emission, let's say that it's a big problem.
Mm-hmm.
Trees need carbon. Plants need carbon. So you know what you do? Instead of decimating trees or full forests and leaving it at that and building on top of it, replant them somewhere. Instead of using trees for paper, using trees for fiber, start growing hemp. Did you ever see the numbers for hemp? I think you can actually harvest it 3 to 4 months instead of 10 years. So there's so many ways that even if it was a problem, let's say, and it's not bullshit, it's not a problem, but let's say that it was.
For the sake of argument.
There's so many solutions that you could go towards to, like even Judith Curry, when she came, She talked about it. Even the Greenpeace, the co-founder of Greenpeace, saying, "Yeah, it's bullshit because the IPCC numbers that they're showing you for climate change are misused. They're not even correct." Read Tim Ball. I've talked about him before. If you want to read a great book from a Canadian, it's called Where is it? It's Tim Ball. He used to be a climatologist. He's an expert from out of Alberta. Tim Balls is the name of the author. Is dead now. I wish I could have spoken to him before he died. But hey, if you want to know more, it's insane. The numbers are so fudged. And let's say that they're not 1.4%. Who the fuck cares? 1.4%. Fudged? You like
Fudge,
that?
yeah. Hey, watch your language.
Oh, I'm just
Imagine
hungry.
you get banned from YouTube. Language.
You know, bro, it's because I only eat once a day, right? I'm always
Oh, that's
fasting.
right. That's right.
So this is my subconscious mind telling me I've been craving sugar, but I've been on a pretty strict diet recently. So yeah, I'm thinking sugar. I'm thinking
Yeah,
chocolate.
fudge.
Fudge.
Great comment by Misfit. If they were actually wanting to make a difference, they'd be wanting to get our LNG to Asia, get them off coal, and they would actually be making a difference. That's exactly right.
What?
That is exactly right. Look,
stop with common sense, Misfit.
yeah,
Stop it!
like exactly right. Like if we just for a second think of don't think in terms of like the fuel, think in terms of just energy. The world needs a certain amount of energy. China needs a certain amount of energy. That is not going to change. They are going to get that energy somehow. The only thing we can do is determine what way, what mechanism, what vehicle they use to do it. And most of the time they're going to use coal. So we can't force China to stop using energy. They would never listen to us anyways. The best thing you can do, if you really care about the environment, is get our LNG to Asia and get them to use that so that they don't use the coal. But of course, they don't actually care about what they say they care about. If they did, they'd be talking about nuclear as well. You know, it's about power. It's about ideology. It's about forcing. It's about control is what it's about fundamentally.
Man, you are sounding like a conspiracy theorist more.
Well, I mean, this is just common
more.
sense. I actually
I've told you before. What's the difference between a conspiracy theory, and reality? About 6 months.
And I like this comment that Wise Guy says. He says, "What I like about you two, I don't have to comment because you keep saying what I'm thinking." And the fact of the matter is, the fact that we're on opposite sides of the political spectrum, and that you both find yourself agreeing with both of us regularly, it shows that what's really important is having common sense, right? When you have common sense, you can fit. The rest falls into place. Even when we disagree, like me and Nico disagreed on some things earlier in the show. We agreed on the problem, disagreed maybe on the solution, but that's where the debate should be. That's where it's productive and that's where it's healthy. And that is what the value of this show. Obviously, it's a space for people like us to sort of give our takes and give our positions and debate and all that stuff, and it's fun, and yes, but it's also meant to be a model, right, for people to see. If this gets to be big enough, people can actually say, well, fuck yeah, what we don't have to have political discourse the way that 90% of it is out there on the internet, where it's just throwing insults back and forth and people aren't even agreeing on the problem. They're just screaming at each other, right? Like that's where the value in this show is. And again, this is probably a good way to segue into the pitch. If you do like this show, if you like what you hear, please think about supporting us by becoming a member on YouTube. You can do it for as little as $2.99 a month. You will get priority comments in the comments section, or we'll read your comments at a priority, and you will get full access to the Discord, and you'll just help support the community. So with that, do you want to take a couple comments and then we'll
before we do, I just want to correct a mistake that we made. We were talking about how there was no minister that was chosen from Alberta because there was only 2 liberals that were elected. Well, we're wrong. Eleanor Olszynski, the MP that won in Edmonton Centre, has been chosen as the Minister of Emergency Management and Community Resilience. She will manage a department known as Prairies Economic Development Canada. So just to say that there was somebody from Alberta that was chosen. So we were wrong.
Yeah.
So there was one. We have to admit when we're wrong.
Yes. No, that's fair. I mean, we do we want our audience to be able to trust us, and that means that when we get it wrong, we will always correct ourselves.
Amen to that.
But yeah, I mean, so
let's talk about that, and then we should cover three of them. The finance minister. We should talk about David McKinty and Jill McKnight, especially because of your background. I want to get your opinion on this because to me it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just looking here. So yeah, we've got that. I've got and at some point I'd like to talk about Anita Anand, who's Foreign Affairs.
We can talk about those fours and call it a day, because I was looking. I literally went the 30 ministers, and I'm just like, we can talk about health. The health minister looks like she's fucking obese. Like, what the fuck's going on? In the US, the head of the HHA is fucking shredded. He has a six-pack and he's 70. In Canada, do you remember our last one? Do you remember the Asian one during the pandemic?
No.
Hold on. Health minister. She was that with Trudeau, COVID, Canada. Let me show you the person that was the picture of health during our great years of the whoop whoop. Here it is. Here she is. This is the picture of health right there. A fucking woman that looks like she's fucking dying on stage. Like this was our
Jesus. Looks like a mummy. Like a fucking they opened the sarcophagus and brought her out.
It's like, you're our new health minister. But it's we have another health minister. Since we're talking about it, I'll just throw it out there because it's literally 2 seconds. This is our new health minister.
Okay. I mean, she's checking some boxes, right?
She as in pizza boxes. Yes, she definitely is. No, but look at this. The woman there in white is our health minister.
Wow.
This is who's going to tell us what health is in Canada. She should be on a beach.
Yeah,
she should be on a beach.
I think there are some cabinet posts where the person doesn't need to have a lot of direct experience, but I feel like some health, the person should look healthy. You know what I mean? Defense,
at the very least, maybe a doctor.
Yeah,
maybe a doctor.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
How dare I? Yeah, but this is insanity. Like, even you step into it's like that obese personal trainer that approaches you at the gym to ask you if you need help, bro.
Yeah, like, no, bro. Do you need help?
You want me to help you out, bro? But that's the thing. You walk in your doctor's office and he's obese. I'm like, really? You're the one that's gonna help me with my health?
Yeah.
Same thing here. Our health minister is obese. Our last one was a mummy.
Yeah.
This one's obese. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
You know why? It's because being fit is now right-wing coded for some reason. Like, I heard something the other day on Twitter, and I was like, that's actually bang on. It was some saying something. It was from a sort of a someone like myself, a disillusioned lefty, and they were like, one of the big problems with the left right now is basically anything that is related to self-improvement, improving yourself, whether it's getting your weight down, getting out there and fucking getting a good job, or sort of hustling, or just anything to better yourself is now right-wing coded. And I was like, you know what, he's right. And I mean, how many articles have we seen where, like, if you like going to the gym, make sure you might be a white nationalist. I mean, obviously I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it's that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And it's the left is really they've put themselves in a box where people are gonna, especially, that's why so many young people, especially young men, are conservative and right wing right now, because they're looking at the left and they're saying, okay, I basically have to hate myself. I have to give up on ever improving myself, and I have to celebrate mediocrity, and I need to shame excellence if I want to be a liberal. What the fuck is in it for me? Why would I do that?
But at the same time, I'm not surprised, because that's what the left does, and it's a great story from mummy to whale. The story of our health
The two
Ministers.
extremes of unhealth, right? Like the two unhealthy extremes. Danny D says, this is a podcast I always need to listen to. Danny, welcome. I appreciate that comment. Hopefully you stick around. If you are just tuning in and you want to support the show, if you like what we do, you can become a member on YouTube, and that will give you priority comments. And you can jump over on the Discord server, shoot the shit, be part of the community. You can also comment on things you want to see on the show, and a lot of times we'll discuss it and give you credit for that as well. Sylvie, how's it going? You're a little late today, but better late than never.
Tony G saying we're celebrating mediocrity.
Gold. Yes, right. It's gold.
Gold. There we go.
Gold.
Where's that from? Where's that from?
Seinfeld.
Who said
remember
that?
the
Who says that?
it was
I've literally watched every single episode at least 5 times. I actually know them by heart.
I can picture his
just
face.
drawing a blank.
He had those crazy eyes.
Oh yeah, it's the guy that he trains to be a comedian.
He's another comedian.
Bang it.
Oh, was that his name?
Banyan, yeah. Gold.
Oh, Banyan. Yes. Fucking Banyan.
It's about the Oval. See, I'm such a nerd of Seinfeld. It's about the Ovaltine.
Oh, you're right. Ovaltine. That's gold, Jerry. Gold.
This is gold.
He's got that crazy liberal eyes.
He's probably one of my favorite characters on that show.
One of my favorite was Man Hands. He's out on the date and it's like just these big old meat hooks cracking the lobster with their hands. You got something on your face.
The girl that never changes. She's always in the black and white dress. The girl that's good when there's not much light, but in the light she's ugly as shit. She never. Oh man, there's so. That was probably the best show ever made, hands down. If you ask me what's the best show, Seinfeld by far. There's 10 seasons. I've seen every single fucking episode. I can probably, I bought somebody bought me years ago the series, like the set. Out of 10 years, I hadn't seen one single episode out of like 151. There was just one. I'm like, oh shit. Woo! I've never seen one. That's how much. But man, Jerry's a billionaire. Like literally, he's worth $1 billion because
Jerry
of the
Seinfeld.
rerun.
Is he really? Oh, the reruns. Yeah. That's right. Because of all the like shows, that's probably been one of the most lucrative in terms of in terms of royalties. Because that keeps going. That's still super strong.
Oh yeah, and I agree. Like we have with Kramer.
The painting, the Kramer painting. Yeah.
Oh,
he's a beast. I can't look away.
oh yeah, we're gonna buy the Kramer.
The Kramer.
And they have him for dinner. It's in the background.
I was in the pool. I was in the pool.
Drink it.
Yeah, that's what's so funny because they're all real topics. They're all real issues, right?
But it is true that most women, I don't think that most women knew about shrinkage.
No,
like,
they don't. And
they?
To the extent that they do, it's usually because of that show. Like, I've actually talked to several people about be like, they'll be like, is that a real thing? Yes, it's a real thing. It's a real thing.
Our penis are very, very bipolar.
Oh fuck yeah! Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That would be a nightmare too, to see your girlfriend who hasn't seen it before. If that's her first impression,
ugly babies.
Yeah,
that is another one. I've spoken about this.
That is an ugly baby.
Because that is something in real life. Like there's a skit. There's a skit that came out of Canada. I can't remember what it was, but there's 2 couples sitting at the restaurant. One of them just got a new baby, and the other couple is like, the dude's like me, and then my wife. And they're showing pictures like, oh, look how pretty her baby is, and blah blah blah. And he's like, the other couple are like, tell us that her baby's. Tell us, do you think he's pretty? He's like, I'm not gonna answer that question. This is exactly what I would have done. It's like, nope, I'm not answering that question. Why not? I just can't tell, because now you're forcing me into answering the question, and you're not going to like my answer. And they just keep on pressing, and the guy's like, yeah, no, your baby's ugly. But it's true in society, because I say that, I see kids and I'm like, God damn, that's an ugly kid. That's an ugly baby. Woo, that's an ugly baby. And we're not supposed to say that, because supposedly we can't say, see,
I mean, and it's funny.
Did you know before Seinfeld about shrinkage, Sylvie?
Yes. Any of the ladies out there, did you know about shrinkage before Seinfeld?
Because I've spoken about this to women in the past because of that. So
yeah. A lot. Yeah. Same with me. A lot of them are like, no, I didn't know it was a thing.
Maybe they were closet sluts and they didn't want to tell me. What? Shrinkage? They played innocent.
Yeah. Oh, I've never seen a penis ever. I just want to. Robin says they was a basketball player, so at least they is fit. Who are we talking about here? Is one of them a they them? Is that the? Because that would be the icing on the cake, wouldn't it?
Oh no! Don't tell me that whale. Sorry,
Can't be. Is it?
Hold on, I'm looking at her right now because
is her name Marjorie
Michelle? Yes, she's from Papineau. She's the one that replaced Justin Trudeau. She ran into his riding in Montreal. Like, we got the dumbest fucking people in Montreal.
Oh fuck yeah.
I can tell you, I'm from Montreal.
No, okay, so I don't think she is. I just looked her up. I don't believe that she is. The Manitoba health minister is a they. For fuck's sakes, that's such nonsense, isn't it? Like, it's just a bunch of boring.
That's why they wrote Teresa trans earlier. I'm like, it's not trans, it's tam.
Oh, is it? Okay,
10 feet above my head. That was a they them.
That's the last health. Okay, that was Teresa Tam. Oh, she's a they them. That's so ridiculous. Like,
the
what
mummy
a
is a they them.
Yeah, the mummy. Jesus.
So she was mummified as a dude and came back as a woman.
It's just, man, like, what a way to tell me you're not a serious person. Like, you're not a serious adult. Like, imagine an adult saying they go by they them. Like, it's just a ridiculous. It's for boring people with no personality who think it makes them more interesting than it does. And yeah, how embarrassing. 5-10 years from now, even those people will pretend they never did that, just because it's so embarrassing. Tony G says the bigger your belly gets, the more shrinkage you have. Unfortunately, this is correct.
Is it true?
Yeah, I've not. Well, not necessarily. Like, the shrinkage itself is still the same, but if you've got a big belly, the whole thing, like,
you can't see it.
Your life is shrinkage. It's permanent shrinkage.
My wife was saying the other day, I can't see my feet because she's so pregnant, right? So that's probably
that's funny. How is she getting? Is she, like, really big? Is she comfortable, or is she getting kind of uncomfortable?
No, she's always uncomfortable, man. It's part of the game, I guess. It's my first. I don't know the full details. I've never been pregnant, and I don't think I can be pregnant.
No, so well, you never know. You never know. I mean, it's a crazy world out there these days.
But she is uncomfortable all the time.
Yeah, I don't think it's. Yeah, I know my son's mother. She was actually surprisingly comfortable during her pregnancy, but she told me her first one, she was miserable. It's funny how that is, and I don't know for the women out there who have had multiple kids, was it this, like, it seems like it's often different every single pregnancy, which is kind of unusual. But yeah, I was just gonna ask this myself, Robin. What the heck is dimming? Because I'm seeing that in the comments here a few times. Cheryl says they just announced they would be implementing dimming in the UK. Sounds like a freaky sex thing.
I can tell you. No, I can tell you what it is. And by the way, just an FYI, Northern Hillbilly, I'm probably 10 times the conspiracy theorist that you are. The only difference is because I run a YouTube channel that I don't want to get banned on, I don't talk about those things.
To block the sun.
Exactly. So the UK government has approved money to give to private companies in order to research dimming, which basically is dimming of the sun using chemtrail technology. So they want to spew. What's the best term I could use?
Well, I think the chemical is sulfur. Is it sulfur dioxide?
It's not just that. There were particle of aluminum, if I'm not mistaken. But I posted about this on my Instagram before. It's just here we can't talk about all of those good stuff because it's dangerous to get banned. That's why I don't do it. So Northern Hillbilly, if That's why I have a Rumble channel where I share most of my shit on, because I don't get in trouble over there. But yes, dimming is true. This is not fake. They basically have confirmed that chemtrails have been going on for years, because they're using the same type of technology they've been using in chemtrails as they are to sunblock. Basically, the real term is that they will be reflecting. They will be spewing particles, artificial
reflects.
particles in the sky in order to reflect the sun, because in the UK they get so much sun that it's a problem. Like, what a fucking bunch of idiots. They literally, I think it's one of the nations that it rains the most, and yet they want, like, who the fuck allows this shit to happen? You're gonna affect the environment for everybody just because you guys are fucking stupid.
Well, yeah. Is there any like science behind this at all? Is there any? I mean,
you know what's awesome
sounds dodgy.
is that they call it geoengineering, which that's how chemtrails have been called for years.
Yep.
Now they're admitting that it was true the whole way through. Once again, conspiracy theorists are proven right. But yes, this is. Oh, I like that. Greenpeace UK, geoengineering. Why dimming the sun isn't a bright idea. Ha ha ha. See, even you're fucked when Greenpeace, the co-founder of Greenpeace, comes out and say carbon is not affecting our climate. Stop with this bullshit. And now you have Greenpeace UK saying geoengineering, dimming the sun is not a bright idea. Like, you have climate change groups that are telling you to stop.
Yeah, no doubt. Fucking Greenpeace, right? That's if Greenpeace is saying, guys, you're a bit too radical, then maybe it's time to listen. Northern Hillbilly, he says you put the tinfoil hat for me last week on it. No, when we do that, it usually means
no. Look, I moved it so it's in my background at all time. It's right there.
When we put the hat on, it means we're acknowledging that we're going into the conspiracy theorist domain.
But those are not conspiracy theories. Like, literally, they're talking about it. The UK has approved millions of dollars in funding in order to research this shit. 11 million pounds is.
But if you want to have those discussions in the conspiracy theory Discord section of the channel, you have to become a member, Hillbilly. Or
that's not even a conspiracy theorist.
Well, I mean, I guess the conspiracy theory part is I guess what they're putting in the actual concoction, I guess, or is that well known?
Not.
Is it?
Oh, they talked about. Bill Gates has been talking about this for 5 to 10 years. How this is one of his plans. He's been wanting to do this forever, and now guess what? The UK is doing it, but it's not okay to build pipeline. Exactly,
as Therese said. So that's good for the environment, but pipelines, that's bad. I mean,
chemtrails, good.
Make it
pipelines,
make sense.
Bad.
Make it make sense, right?
Make it make sense. There's
Sasquatch. Macron and Obama's wives are also they, them, he, she. I mean,
they're not they, them.
I'm convinced on Macron.
They're ease.
I'm convinced.
So that 6-inch clitoris that we saw through the skirt of Big Mike wasn't enough to convince you.
All right.
It's literally going like this. Like, this was literally what was happening. Not enough to convince
it was flopping. Big Mike was packing heat for sure.
It was bigger than some man's penis that I've seen in the change room. So, just saying, man.
Oh my God. All right, so let's get back on there. I feel like I'm going to be the adult in the room here and bring us back on track. So we
Which
got
one? There's three more I wanted to talk about.
We got DeBrosin. So we got Foreign Affairs, and I've got Sean Fraser, who's the Attorney General. But if you've got one, you grab who you want.
Well, but there's two of them that I would do like super easily.
Okay. Yeah, neither of these are going to be super long either.
No, and those things aren't either. It's just to kind of show how fucking ridiculous we are. So let me share my screen here. Our new Minister of National Defense is David McKenty.
Okay. What
a lawyer?
Where's he from?
A lawyer and a fucking politician, because he's been in politics forever. That's why you know about it. But we got a guy that is responsible for national defense.
Yep.
That's a lawyer and a politician. No background in the military. Has never served. Does not work with the military. And that guy is
he's been
responsible
since 2004. Jesus.
Oh yeah, this guy is the equivalent of our Joe Biden. Like, that's a Joe Biden right there.
Yeah.
Why is he dealing with national defense? What the fuck does that guy know about national defense? And if that wasn't enough, Jill McKnight, a fucking former executive director for the Delta Chamber of Commerce, is now the Minister of Veterans Affairs. So we got another twat that has no fucking experience with the military that is the Minister of Veterans Affairs. How much do we don't give a fuck about our military to have defense minister, non-military, veterans affairs, non-military?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that's again, and that's one of
what the
those, that's one of those portfolios I was talking about. Like, you really do need to have some connection or some expertise. I'm just reading about him here. His brother's Dalton McGuinty, who was the premier of Ontario. So, I mean, essentially, it's some nepotism going on. Basically, it's just he's a politically connected insider, and it's just
Of course he is.
just a reward. It's just a kickback to this is just what you do.
But
Politics
he's
as
been in
usual.
power since 2004, right? He's been an MP for Ottawa South since 2004. He was re-elected 6 times. I think this was his 7th time for re-election. 2001, 7, 3. Yeah, that's pretty close. That's insane. That's fucking insane.
That is insane. And it's
Actually, you mean he was the son? No, hold on.
No,
This
yeah,
is how-
brother.
No. His
No. I was
son,
looking it up.
son of no. That's the father. He's a junior. Son of
the
Dalton.
junior is the one
James
that was
McG-
premier, though. The junior was the one that was premier.
Yeah, but his father, so the father of Dalton McGuinty and David McGuinty was member of the Ontario Legislative Assembly. So his whole those guys are like are like the
family.
Kennedys. Oh yeah, they're like
Yeah.
Canadian Kennedys.
So it's just corruption. It's just insider. It's just fucking greased palms and back slaps and fucking brandies out in the cigar room. Kind of old school politics, corruption as usual. Which again, that's always going to exist. But you give these guys like some nonsense position, right? Fucking making them the Secretary of State of fucking I don't know, fucking LGBTQ pride festivals or something like that. Give him something like that. Don't make him fucking Minister of Defense, an actual legitimately important position. So yeah, and again, I think the one thing we're really trying to do with this episode is just, there's some individually bad selections, but it's really, we're painting a picture, right? It's the whole thing that we're really trying to. No, I know we don't have states, but the Secretary of State is this.
That's
new
how they
position.
call it.
Yeah, they created. There's 10 of the 30 cabinet ministers are secretaries of state. Which I don't know why. As Tony G says, keeping it in the elite families. Yeah, I guess so. I mean,
100%.
that's politics as usual. And that's always going to go on. But for a post like Minister of Defense, a national defense, that's yeesh. I don't like that at all. And obviously, like as a veteran, same thing. I want to see someone who has some. You don't have to have served, although that would be ideal, but some connection to the military, whether you've got, you've worked, I don't know, somewhere, like maybe you're a military family or there's some connection, but I don't see any of that.
Like it's the same thing with Jill McKinney. So she's part of the Delta Chamber of Commerce. So basically the city she's from, British Columbia, Delta, British Columbia, she's part of the Chamber of Commerce. What the fuck does that have anything to do with being Veterans Affairs Minister? Like, what the fuck does that have anything? So forget who they are, forget how connected they must be, forget if they have pass. Just try to do it from a common sense perspective and play devil's advocate. What the fuck experience does she have that makes her competent to run a department like Veterans Affairs? Shouldn't you understand what it is to be a veteran? Shouldn't you understand what it is to deal with veterans? Shouldn't you understand what veterans are looking for, the problems that they're facing day in, day out? Like, is it too much to ask to have competent people with experience do jobs that they should be doing? Not choosing based on what your last name is or what you have between your legs? Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. And like again, I understand how politics works. Of course, there's going to be some positions that are just plum positions that are just given out for political allies and blah blah blah, but not defense, not national defense, not veterans affairs. There are some portfolios that need to be there needs to be a connection to the actual thing that you're the minister of.
One thing though that I'm starting to notice right now, I'm on
Correct,
the
Roman.
Wikipedia of Jill McKnight, and I
Yep.
can't remember which one it was. Another one that had the same thing, but if you go under awards,
Okay.
she has the Delta Volunteer of the Delta Chamber. But here are the two interesting ones. She has an award for Queen Jubilee Award, Exemplary Community Service 2022. So that was I looked it up earlier. So the Queen Jubilees Award was given on the 60th birthday of the Queen's reign.
Yep.
The Queen of England.
And that's
She
given.
has it, and she has the King Charles III Coronation Medal. So she has 2 awards coming from the UK. At least one of the other minister had the same thing, and she's an unknown. So it's like there might be. I'm gonna start fucking Googling them, every single one of them, to see if they have how many of them actually have those fucking medals.
The Jubilee medals,
This
you don't do anything for them. They're literally just given out as political favors and patronages.
But that's my point. Like, is there? So do they all have links back to the old country, as they like to say?
Well, because I obviously the Jubilee medals are directly related to the royal family, but I think they're kind of given, through. I think they're given by Canada, usually for it's just that sort of ridiculous connection to the Brits and the royal family. Personally, I like to cut those ties. I don't like having the king or the queen of England as our official head of state. I think I don't think it looks good. I think it sets the wrong precedent. We're not a vassal of the UK. I get the history there, but I don't like it.
You and me both. I haven't met one Canadian yet that told me.
Nobody does. No one really like the best thing you hope for is some people won't care, right? They'll be like, yeah, I don't care one way or the other. But I don't know. I feel there's a few old people that really, really like it. I don't know. What do you guys think? Would you guys like to see us stay, a Commonwealth country and have the UK royal family as our official heads of state on our money? When if any court case is always has the name of the royal. It's always like Victoria or Elizabeth versus or like the crown or Her Majesty or something. I forget what it is, but it's always it's some people say it don't matter, but I don't know. I think it does. If you're a sovereign nation, you're a sovereign nation.
Well, seems like we're not.
I do believe we do. I think we do pay, not tax. Well, I guess you could call it tax. But I think there's an amount of money that we pay. Although that's a good question. I should look that up. We got actually I'll look that up in a second. Should we get who do you want to do? Foreign affairs? Yeah,
we can do foreign affairs. I found a great post.
Yeah, let's
do that. Somebody's like, try to call her a DEI hire, and I did respond to
Let's
it.
Look at her first.
I did call her a DEI hire. So fuck you. Yes, she is a DEI hire. I just need to find that post now.
Squirrel nuts, abolish the monarchy, at least in Canada. You're right. Like they can keep it for themselves if they want it. I don't know why we have it. I agree with you there. Therese, no, time to move on. If we can do he, she, time to move on. Robin, I think we should keep the queen on our money. Screw the king. Yeah, there is a lot of people who just really liked Queen Elizabeth. She certainly represented stability for I think a lot of Canadians. I mean,
didn't she die? She was like 80 years old or something, and she was in power in like her mid-20s or something.
Yeah, I think she was queen during fucking World War II. Yeah, right. And then she only died like 3 or 4 years ago, maybe not even. So
no, I don't think it's that. I'll Google it.
Yeah, Google it. But
I'm pretty sure. Born 1926, died in 2022, September 8th.
Only 3 years.
She was, she became. When did she
So-
became queen? Because that's what I'm into. Yeah, she died at 96, bro. God damn, she
96,
drank
yeah.
some. She drank a lot of blood to stay old.
Adrenochrome.
Is that a word we need to be careful?
I wonder if it is. I wouldn't surprise me if it is. YouTube.
Yeah.
I was obviously kidding. I mean, I am kidding. I don't. I don't think that.
Oh
don't
man,
think-
there's so many
I don't
things
think
that
Queen
came out of
Elizabeth.
the-
I don't think Queen Elizabeth was drinking the blood of
Sure.
children.
I don't believe that either. I believe that she was a great woman.
Oh, I know. I mean, do you actually think she was, or are you kind of not sure?
There-
Or
No, there's so many reports. Again, I can't say this here without getting in trouble. but
yeah,
there's so
be
many
careful.
really messed up report from people in the UK. I can't say it, but I don't believe that she. I believe that she was a good person. Like I'll just answer it like that.
Hillbilly. That's why I say it for you guys. Yeah, exactly. We can't help what our subscribers say or what our audience says.
No,
Uh,
no.
Like George Carlin, I always love a good George Carlin quote. We're free and living the dream, but you have to be asleep to enjoy it. I've never heard that one, but I could hear it in his voice and everything.
Fucking George Carlin is the
that sounds
man.
ex-
That
oh,
is a
yeah.
comedian right there.
Yeah. What's interesting is he seems to be really threaded that people on the left and the right seem to love him. You know what I mean? He seems to have done a very difficult thing in today's day and age where he has respect of people who are on the left and the right. And for someone who talked politics all the time, he what do you think? What's that face for? You don't, because I don't.
The leftist like you maybe,
Me,
but not
yeah,
the
like
woke.
me, yeah. Well,
But the
no,
vast
I mean they don't like
majority of
anybody.
leftists-
They don't like anybody. They're idiots.
Plus, but I would have loved to see him be alive because he died what at the beginning of the 2000s, like before 2010,
something like that. Yeah.
before the woke really got like the woke was.
Oh, he would have
starting-
fed. He would have fed on it. Man.
bro,
Shit.
I would have loved. He was so brilliant in the way he delivered comedy. Like to me, this is, Carling is to comedy as a Michael Jackson was to pop music. Like Michael Jackson changed the way music after him, it was never the same.
Yeah.
This is George Carlin in
absolutely.
comedy. Like that dude, there's a Dave Chappelle because of George Carlin. There's a Schultz
Yes.
because of he opened that door. But listening to him is listening to a political speech. He just knew how to deliver it in a way that
yeah.
What the fuck did you just say?
He threaded a very fine
Oh
line.
yeah.
As Joe says, George exposed the hypocrisy of both political extremes. Yeah, I think that's
Oh,
a good way to
yeah.
put it.
What a great he was by far the best comedian, if you ask me. That dude was a king.
So Amita Anand, do not call her a DEI hire.
Oh, but
I mean, I know that's the first thing that I thought.
of
How
course.
But this is a good example of why DEI actually hurts the groups that it's supposed to help. Because let's just say for the argument, say she's extremely qualified and she absolutely deserves and earned this position. No one's going to see that. No one sees it. We just assume it's a DEI hire. Now, in reality, it probably is, but it doesn't benefit even the people that it's supposed to help. Identity politics run amok. So Anita Anand, she is our.
I just went on her ex, bro.
It's a
Are you
bad.
gonna share your ex?
Yeah, I got. Well, actually, if you want to introduce her first, and then
all I was going to say is this, right? I wanted to show who that person was so that
Yep.
we're all on the same page. Like this is the woman right here. So this is who we're talking. Wow, she looks a lot better on her picture than she does.
Yeah, she looks good there.
But here's her 1 hour ago. Today I joined our Ukrainian friends and the millions of Ukrainian here in Canada. Fucking pandering to Ukrainian. As the foreign minister, we're not stopping to fund that fucking war, are we?
No, we're not.
Fucker, you.
So yeah, and if that's a little, that might be, if that kind of raises eyebrows, I think this clip I'm going to show here will put them to the top of your head. I don't know that. I mean, this is obviously a divisive topic. Everyone has their own issues, but it's the Israel-Hamas thing. Amina Anand, she's from the Hamas wing of the Liberal Party, and again, she has the right to her own opinions, whatever they all do. But is that really the right choice for fucking minister of Foreign Affairs,
Foreign-
the top diplomat in Canada. Let's see here. So here's something she said.
Israel's blocking food and aid to Gaza. What do you think of that decision? And is the Canadian government doing anything to stop that?
We cannot allow the continued use of food as a political tool. The Prime Minister has been very clear about that. Over 50,000 people have died as a result of the aggression caused against the Palestinian and the Gazan people in Palestine.
Like no context whatsoever about why the violence might be being caused, and we're not going to get into this, but October 7th happened. They killed like 1,500. There's no sovereign nation that could have not that could have not responded to that with military force. And again, that's not saying Israel's completely blameless. I don't want to get into that, but just completely ignore it and just talk as if, isn't it crazy how Israel's at war with Hamas and they're expected to feed them as well? Like that's, I've never heard of anyone else where you're expected to feed your enemies that you're fighting.
And using food as a political tool is simply unacceptable. And we need to continue to work towards a ceasefire. We need to ensure that we have.
It's just, she's clearly an activist again on this issue. And, I think me and you are both more or less on the same page on this. We kind of just want I don't think Canada really has a role to play here. They should just stay the fuck out or at least try to be neutral. But that's clearly not a neutral position. And as your minister of the top diplomat, I'm not sure if, someone, a Hamas supporter is or someone from the Hamas wing is the right call.
No, I agree. But at the same time, are you surprised? Because I showed you a post about how she's celebrating with Ukrainians right now. Here's a post from May 5th. We joined First Nation, Inuits, and Métis community across Canada in honoring and mourning the missing and murdered Indigenous woman. This could have done the Indigenous women, because there are a lot of them that are going missing. But no, she had to continue and pray to the woke gods by saying girls and two LGBTQI plus people.
I'm just going to take a second here. That 2S thing, you'll only see that in Canada. Like, no, you'll see 2S elsewhere, but it's always at the back.
2S stand for? I can't keep track, man.
Two-Spirit. It stands for Two-Spirit. It's always at the back everywhere else, but in Canada, they make sure to put it in front because, of course, you've got to pander to the, the
Isn't
indigenous
it called bipolar? Being bipolar?
So the Two-Spirit thing, there is nothing in actual indigenous or native culture. It is completely made up. It's just white Western bullshit pushed on. Like the same people that are always talking about colonization of indigenous people are pushing this Two-Spirit shit on them. This ideological colonization. There's no other way to interpret it but that the term was invented by a couple of white guys in the fucking 70s and then pushed on indigenous people, and some of them have picked it up and ran with it, sure, but there's no actual basis in actual indigenous culture of men who can also become women. You know what I mean? Like they just invented it out of whole cloth in order to give the trans community legitimacy. And they've done that shit again and again. Like that's just a white dude in the middle. And of course there will be some woke indigenous people who have ran with it, but it's just white people pushing their postmodern new age religions onto indigenous people with ideological colonization and pretending that they're, doing a good thing for them. So that just really fucking just grinds my gears. When I see that, because it's like, fucking leave the indigenous people alone, man. Haven't you done enough? Like,
Two-Spirit is a term used by indigenous people to describe individuals who embody both masculine and feminine spirits, encompassing a range of gender and sexual identities. It is an umbrella term often used by indigenous LGBTQ plus individual, including those who identify as lesbian, gays, bisexual, transgender, queer, and non-heterosexual. Two-Spirit is also understood as a way to reconnect with traditional indigenous roles and ways of life within No, but I like pre-colonial. So before the colonization, so before white people got involved. Basically,
of course, gotta have that white guilt. Gotta
Ugh.
throw that guilt in there.
but to go back to our Anita
Yes,
Anand,
yes. I'll
So-
jump out of that rabbit hole.
I saw this post this morning, which I obviously commented on. So somebody by the name of creative tweets. You should change the EE for A.
Yeah.
Creative
Creative
twats. That'd be way better. But
Yes.
so Anita Anand, BA in political studies at Queen's, BA in jurisprudence at Oxford. So of course she's connected to the UK. LLB at the Lucy, LLM, University of Toronto, law professor, Western Queen's University of Toronto, Yale, corporate lawyer, MP with 6 years in Parliament, 4 years in cabinet. Please, someone call this woman a DEI hire. I fucking dare you.
Okay,
Soup,
she's
soup,
a
soup,
DEI
soup, soup, soup.
she's a DEI hire.
Right here. So I wrote back, education doesn't equate competence or experience. She is a DEI hire. How does any of this make her the best choice to be foreign minister? How is her education going to help her manage diplomats? And at the end of the day, this is what the fucking bullshit is. You can have all the education in the world. That doesn't translate to fucking experience. Don't give me this shit that because she spent all of her life in fucking school and probably never had real experience in the private sector. So she lives in that la la land where she thinks everything education is good. How's that going to help her manage diplomats? Because at the end of the day, that's what the foreign minister does. She represents Canadian to foreign nation.
Yep.
That's the twat you want representing us. Man, I fucking love that word. I'm so happy you taught me that word.
Introduce you that word.
No, but seriously, so you got somebody that believes in the two-spirit, that puts LGBTQ in a post about indigenous people when it has nothing to do with fucking anything, because yes, there's a lot of indigenous women that actually go missing in both Canada and the US. What the fuck does that have to do with sexual preferences?
Yeah.
What? Nothing.
What?
Nothing.
They're trying to lump so much shit under that one umbrella.
Yeah. And so that's the person. So somebody that lives by virtue signaling is the person that we want as a foreign minister. That is, does she have a they them on her passport? Is she like, is that like what the fuck is going? Like what the fuck's going on here? What's going on here?
And this is what happens, like when you set stupid arbitrary goals, like we have to have 50% like equal gender representation. Why do you have to do that? I agree. If there's a woman who is fully qualified and they're talking about offering her a cabinet position and someone says, oh, but she's a woman, we can't give her that. That's wrong. That's discrimination. And that has no place in Canada. But does anyone think that's going on? Of course it isn't going on. Not in 2025. But to just go out of your way, like to insist on diversity just for the sake of diversity, it's idiotic. It's nonsense. It creates mediocrity. And that's the one way to describe Canada. We're fucking mediocre in every way, or we're below average in every way because we celebrate mediocrity. We no longer celebrate excellence. We shame excellence. We celebrate mediocrity, and DEI and identity politics are at the heart of that.
I wanted to show a memorable mention to a woman called Nathalie Provost. The reason I wanted to bring her up is because, earlier we said that activists should not be in politics, especially not as fucking minister.
Mm-hmm.
This is the new minister of the Secretary of State for Nature. What the fuck that means, I don't know. But the reason I'm bringing her up is because she's one of the survivor of the 1989 Polytechnic massacre.
Okay.
And longtime gun control activist. That woman has been talking against guns for literally almost 40 years now. And she is now a minister. Why the fuck do we have activists in positions of powers? How can you tell me that those people care about Canadians, that they're not fucking biased? They're fucking activists. She's a self-described gun control activist. Like, this is fucked up.
And like, how do we get to this point where surviving a mass shooting qualifies you for a position of leadership? You know what I mean? Like David Hogg, fucking vice chair of the DNC, and now, like, don't get me wrong, that was a horrific situation. I'm glad she survived it, and I all those things, all the nice things you can say about that, I'll say them. That has absolutely no bearing on whether she should be a leader. The fact that we even know about it means that they're probably touting that. I'm sure that they're talking about that in a way like she's a survivor of the shooting, as if it's a qualification. It's one of the things that's corrupted the left is this fetishization of the lived experience. We've started on the left. We believe that somehow lived experience is expertise. No, lived experience is just the things that happen to us as we go through life. And yes, of course, lived experience can give you different perspectives. It can give you life experience, and that's useful and valuable, but that's not a qualification. Surviving a mass shooting is not a qualification for leadership.
Can we listen to this? I have no idea. I never listened to this, but as you were talking, I just found this. This Mark Carney posted that a month ago.
Okay.
That's Nathalie Provost. She was shot during the Polytechnic massacre in 1989. That's the gun control activist.
When I was 23, a man walked into my class at Polytechnic. I was shot 4 times and was lucky to survive. Pierre Poilievre has promised the gun lobby that he will legalize guns again and adopt American-style laws. Canada is not the United States. I'm running with Mark Carney. He and his team are going to ban assault weapons permanently. That's what it means to be tough on crime.
This is the woman that was just selected as the Secretary of Nature. Yet everything that she said in there, outside of being shot 4 times, I'll have to assume that that's true, is a lie. Pierre Poilievre never talked about anything like the US. Never. That was never brought up. Assault weapons, the marketing term that they made is made up. It doesn't exist. It's not a real term. Assault guns, maybe, because that means that it's fully automatic. But just so that twat knows, they're not legal in Canada. Automatic weapons have not been legal in Canada forever. They're not legal. What she's describing is a black gun, a black polymer plastic gun. Oh, that's dangerous. That's dangerous because it's black. So basically, she's racist. She doesn't like black guns. That's basically what she's saying. Because the gun she was shot with, you know what the funniest part is an old school gun, and it was wood.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I'm just going to put it out there. But this is the woman. She's literally spewing lies. Like guns or not, we don't have assault weapons in Canada. They're not legal. Like an assault gun is not legal. That's a military gun that can go full auto, or that has a selective rate, which we cannot have. You can have safety on, safety off, but everything, you can't do burst. You can't do full automatic. It's semi-automatic. Every time you pull, there's one bullet that goes out. That's it. That's all we got in Canada. But yet those women, those fucking politicians are allowed to spew. Not only did she lie about Pierre Poilievre, a guy that I really don't like, she's inventing shit because she got shot. That is our Canadian David Hogg. That is a great comparison. That's the same thing.
Well, yeah, and you could tell, like, the way that that was a central part to her story. They're marketing her as that. They're putting that as her qualification. Like, do you have to be shot by a weapon to know that you probably don't want to be shot? Or does that give you any unique experience in terms of leadership or politics? It's nonsense. It's all ridiculous. And then, I mean, everything she says out about weapons afterwards, I'll defer to you on that because, you I don't really know too much about it, but but
they're talking about stuff right now. My guns that they consider assault weapons, I can't do anything with them anymore. So technically, they're already banned. Like, I'm not even talking about fully automatic guns or burst rifle guns that she's describing. The marketing term that they invented, that assault weapons compared to assault rifles. Assault rifles are the one that can go full auto or burst. What she's describing is a made-up term that Democrats made up in the U.S. to blame black guns, black plastic guns like AR-15s to be dangerous. Yet, those guns she's describing are already banned. Trudeau banned them. He banned something like 22 to 2,500 different models of guns over the past 5 years. So what she's describing is already, I have those guns, and you know where they sit? In a safe, because I'm not able to use them anymore. I can't even take them out of my house to go to the range. I'm not allowed to do that. Yet I bought them
that's
legally, but that's my point. So she's literally lying. That was a month ago. So she was running. People elected a fucking liar because she got shot 40 years ago. You know what? It sucks. I'm really sorry you got shot. But that doesn't make you an expert on guns. Clearly, it doesn't.
It doesn't make you an expert on anything. That's the point. It's not a qualification. It's ridiculous how the left has done this. And yeah, I share your frustration because it's ridiculous. Yeah, it qualifies your talk on nothing whatsoever, except maybe survival. Maybe how to survive a gunshot, right? Maybe that's what it makes you an expert on, but even still, I know
there's two types of people that get shot: people that get scared and start talking against guns, or people that realize that there are criminals out there with weapons that they will use no matter what the fuck the laws are, because that's what a criminal is. They don't respect the law. How do you fight a criminal with a gun? Learn how to use a gun and carry it, because that is the greatest equalizer. If a woman is a true feminist, she should support guns. She should encourage women to learn how to defend themselves with guns and carry them, because how do you fight a guy that's 230 pounds like me if you're 115 pounds like my wife?
Bang, it is a great equalizer. And there is a section of the feminist movement that is very pro 2A.
I know some of them.
Yeah. And they see it as a feminist issue, and it's hard to,
but it is
hard to argue with them. It's
if there's an issue that is considered, that should be considered a feminist issue, it is gun rights for women to carry guns in order to protect themselves against dangerous people.
Yeah.
How do you fight somebody with a gun? You defend yourself with a gun.
100%.
But you'll never hear that. You'll never hear that.
It's never not in the mainstream feminist thought for sure. Sasquatch says, "I'm so glad America is moving away from the LGBTQ plus and DEI nonsense. I'll treat you with respect and call you by your name, and I'll ask the same in return. And that is the common sense political orphans way, right? That's it. She's 50 Cent.
Actually, I think he got shot like 9 times.
Yeah. So she's 50% of 50 Cent.
So she's 25 cents.
Yeah. She's 25 cents. She's a quarter.
So Gilbo is
Gilbo Gaggins. We got 25 cents.
And Natalie Provo is Natalie 25 cents. Provo.
Yeah, 25 cents.
There you go. Cool. I love to give people. I love
nicknames. Yeah, I like that too. That's
You're
funny.
Robbie.
Well, yeah. Yes. Jesus. Yes. So, what do you think? Well, end it there on a high note.
The only thing I wanted to mention, there was one single other person I wanted to mention. I'm going to grab his name. He is our new Minister of Finance, Jean-François Philippe Champagne.
Okay.
Just became the Minister of Finance, and he's saying that there will not be a budget this year. Our finance minister
can they do
will
that?
not
How
release,
can there not be a budget?
They will give us an update in the fall as to the money they're spending, but they will not give us a budget. He literally got selected as minister like 2 days ago, and
I'm pretty sure they've already spending billions. Like they're not in parliament. There's no budget. How is this?
$33 billion was somehow fucking pushed through without Parliament ever approving it. Yep. So basically, right here, Finance Minister Champagne suggests Ottawa won't present a budget this year.
He suggests
how insane! 2 days in, already not doing his fucking job. How awesome is that? How the fuck awesome is that? You know why? Because it would probably cut us on his vacation, his summer vacation. That's why he doesn't want to table a budget. Because that means government workers and his office would have to actually work for a fucking living.
Yeah. I mean, that's I don't know, man. I haven't I didn't have a whole lot of high hopes for the Liberals, but so far they are exceeding my expectations. As in on the downside.
Last time the governments didn't the last time the government didn't table a budget was during the onset of the pandemic in 2020. So basically, it's not the first time the Liberals.
So what's their excuse this year, though? What are they? Why?
I'm short because he's another. He's part of the
guys. I can't reach my desk.
He's part of the Gaggins, bro.
Is
you
he
don't,
the
you don't
Gaggins?
remember?
The
Do
Gaggins?
you not remember
Oh, is he
when
the
they
shorty?
were walking in?
Is he the shorty?
They're all short. He's like, he makes Mark Carney look like a big guy.
That must have been the only qualification he had. He must be 5'4"
You have to be shorter
or
than
less.
this.
Yeah, 5'4" or less. All right, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the show today. I think we had a lot of fun, a lot of engagement. And actually, I think we did a pretty good job in introducing you to our new cabinet. If as I said, even for some of the people that were like, "Oh yeah, this is bad," I was like, just hold that thought. It'll probably get even worse because we probably took a deeper dive than most people did. But that's our leaders. That is our leaders for the next 4 or 5 years.
Don't worry, they'll stand up to Trump.
Sorry to be the bearers of bad news. I mean, don't shoot us. We're just the messenger. Elbows up. Yeah, fuck yeah.
Elbows up.
Sasquatch, Canada deserves the country they got. I mean, that's what they say, right? In a democracy, you deserve what you get. So we'll help
Sasquatch for being entertaining. You're welcome.
Yes. Misfits got a couple new jokes.
Hold on, I'll go check out because I feel like a good joke. Like I feel I need a good joke before we finish here.
Yes, you got. I'll do the spiel.
Gonna check.
Guys, if you are,
I got you. I'll take two. That's for you. That one's for you, bro.
Okay.
That one is from Misfit on the Discord server. It basically says, I've asked so many people what LGBTQ stands for. So far, no one has given me a straight.
Classic. Love it. Love it. Keep them coming.
Nothing like good dad jokes.
Yeah, guys, that's it for us today. Thank you for being here. You could have been anywhere in the world today. You chose to be here with us, and we appreciate that. If it was your first time here today, please come back, stick around. Hopefully you had a good time. If you do come back tomorrow, remember to shoot some comments in the comments section, guys. This show, the reason we do it live is so that we can engage you guys. That's where the energy in this show lies. And if you've been around for a while, you'll know that we have a really, really high performing audience, really, really, really big brains, lots of big brains out there. You guys make us look good. But if you do want to support the show, please think about getting a membership. You can do that on YouTube. It starts at $2.99 a month, and it will get you priority comments in the comments section. And you can obviously engage as much as you want in the Discord channel. As far as that goes, hopefully you guys had a good time as much as we did today being here with you. We will check you tomorrow. Probably Friday's a little bit lighter, but of course we'll keep coming back with the hard-hitting news. Misfit says we make Nico look good. Haven't figured you out yet, Rob. Yeah, I mean, don't worry about me. I got I'm a lost cause. I'm a lost cause. There's nothing can be done.
Misfit, you can't fix ugly.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, exactly right. You can't.
Well, it's called a paper bag. At least in my time, that's what it was.
My mom says I'm handsome, so that's all that matters. Guys, we will. Sylvie, thank you for that. We'll catch you tomorrow, folks. We'll see you in the Discord channel, and if not, back here tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel.